welcome to the final day of Stage 2 of the Canada Division. I'm Jackie Jing, and I'm with Kicks and Taro, and my favorite stuffed koala, Mel. Super excited about today. It's a bragging rights match. Who will be second place in the Canada Division? Super excited about that. And Taro, your flow is exceptional today.
Thank you very much. I like my hair. I like my hair today. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
very nice
Kicks, I mean, you always have a great hair day, so, you know, just keep on working that flow. Anyway, hope y'all are having a great Friday. Super excited about these matches, like I was saying. How you feeling on this Friday, gentlemen? Kicks? You pumped? You excited?
Well, we have been wondering who's going to take the second spot in the Canadian division for a long time, and yeah, we're finally going to get that answer, so it's going to be a good match, I would hope.
Okay, and Tara, you look extremely focused.
I was editing my I was editing my white balance because my blinds are a little bit open. So because of that, my white balance is a little bit.
I think I can kind of see that actually reflecting off your backdrop, but it's okay. It's live television, folks. We'll make it work. Anyway, we digress. We will be rolling into this match very soon, but really quickly, a quick word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are back, and let's chat about Stage 2. The fourth place team in the Canada Division is Nordic. Our first place team, again, is Mirage. And today, we will watch Altiora versus Livid. The winner is number 2 in the Canada Division. What up? The loser, they're third place. So anyway, yeah, like we said, this is all about bragging rights, determining second and third place. But let's talk about these teams. Livid versus Altiora, and we will start with Altiora. So Altiora is coming off a tough loss against Mirage. That was a close one. They actually took Mirage to 3, and their star player, in my opinion, appears to be Eska. He is number 1 in the leaderboards for overall rating, KD, entry, and he's also top 5 for cost. So he is absolutely killing it, I would say. Intero, talk to me about this man's impact on his team and how he has contributed.
Yeah, I mean, he's so good. He's not even on the Altiora roster page right now. He is a cut. He is a cut above them, as you can see on your screen right now. Sorry about that, Eska. You can be top on the CGG ratings, but you cannot be on the screen for everybody to see. So anyway, Sonar, by the way, Sonar, great name. Logan Parker, hell of a name. Big fan of both parts. Half Wolverine, half me. So awesome. Eska's obviously one of the newer additions to Altiora. They made a couple roster moves. They brought in Euphoria, they brought in Eska, and both of them have been a tremendous addition. Both have been good additions. It doesn't matter who it is. Obviously, Eska is very proficient on entry. That is something that is not hard to do, but finding somebody who's reliable and can consistently kill more than they die isn't something that happens as commonly as you'd expect. For all the ranked gunners that are out there in the world, with people that love to pride themselves off of their 2+ KD and ranked, well, there are players that struggle at this level of play. The fact that Eska is capable of doing that is huge. The rest of the team obviously needs some credit here. Guns in particular, I think, has been a sleeper pick for one of the better players on Altiora, and the rest of the team sets Eska up for success. So not all the credit can go just to Eska's way.
He's pretty darn good, though, I would
pretty
say.
good.
Is agree on that.
Better than average.
Like literally, I went to the stats and I was like, Eska. Oh, and Eska again. But anyways, I digress. Altiora's matchup against Mirage last week. Let's talk about that a little bit. It definitely had unusual pacing, I would say. We did see a lot of mistakes there. So, Kix, I want to pick your brain. How do you think Altiora will line up against Livid? Are you expecting a lot of chaos again?
Yeah, certainly going to be some chaos. You know, both of these squads are teams that are transforming right now and learning a lot as they go. It's worth keeping in mind that while it was a really awkward match that we had on the 9th, Altiora versus Mirage, it was still kind of in contention. Every single one of the maps that were played were one-sided, whether they be towards Mirage or Altiora. That it ended up being a 2-1 with Villa going the way of Altiora. Here and now, I think that against Livid, given the performance we've seen from Livid against against Mirage further in the past, there's a good chance that this is just going to be another really close match. And I don't know. I really struggled to draw a parallel between Mirage and Altiora, Mirage and Livid. Thus, it's hard to compare them directly.
Yeah, I think that they're all quite different. So we may be in for some chaos today, but that could be exciting too. Let's talk about Livid a little bit. Livid lost to Mirage in 2 at the beginning of the season, then edged out Nordic, winning in 2 in a close one. Both of those maps actually going 8-7. So this team definitely seems to be on the up and up in Taro, but do you think that they've improved enough to beat Altiora?
I honestly don't know, and I mean, a little bit of a spoiler for those that aren't able to see this. It looks like Altiora will have both Penguin and Sonar playing in this match, which, if by my notes here, they are both making their debut for this team this stage. So good, Euphoria, Spirits, and Eska. It appears that Mizio and was it Guns actually drew the short straws. They're not going to be playing today, which is a bit of a surprise for me because I don't think Guns is one of the 2 worst players on this team. I mean, that would obviously be a question that we'd have to relay to Bandit, their coach. But for Altiora, I mean, it's bringing in Sonar and Penguin. This is a game that's for bragging rights. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. Very similar to what we saw out of the matchup on Wednesday, OXG versus TSM. There's nothing really on the line for the match here. This is just purely performative. It's going to be essentially a form of theater where one of these teams finishes second, one of the teams finishes third. Cool, we clap, and then we move on, right? So I think for Altiora, they probably don't really care if they finish second or third. They're going to take this matchup as an opportunity to bring in 2 newer players and see how they do, given that there's obviously 7 players on Altiora. They have flexibility. And the fact that they have 7 players on their roster alone is kind of mind-boggling. We had Fnatic who had 6 players for a little bit. Penta had 6 players when they had Falco as a sub for a little while. But we don't typically see teams running more than 5 active players. Altiora are. So you've got Sonar and Penguin now stepping in, and we'll see how they do. Honestly, if Livid play the way that Livid has shown that they're capable of, and Altiora have to adapt to 2 new players, this could be an easy victory for Livid, even though Livid did look like the worst team earlier in the stage.
All right, well, we definitely want to get things rolling, and I believe that we are ready to go into the map selection process, so we are working to bring that information up on the screen right now. And once we have that all up here, we can start analyzing the map vetoes. Here it is. So, gentlemen, tell me what you were thinking.
I mean, I'll just jump in here. The really obvious one for me, and I'm sure Michael will echo this, is seeing Villa being Altiora's pick. I mean, that was Mirage's pick last Friday, and Altiora crushed them 7-1. It was frankly, it was a very embarrassing map for Mirage. Not just because I think that Altiora showed up, but I think that Mirage played quite poorly, and Altiora are clearly very confident on this map, and it's no surprise that they're going to bring it out immediately. And we'll see if it was just a fluke that they were able to go 7-1 against Mirage, but I suspect that level of scoreline is probably not a fluke. No.
As for Theme Park, we haven't seen that played by any of the teams yet so far in this match, so there's nothing really interesting about that. Oregon, on the other hand, was played between Altiora and Mirage. So it was actually taken by Mirage, but it was a closer map, so there is a suggestion that it might be decent for Mirage as a whole, Altiora as a whole, and Livid did actually play Mirage on Oregon as well in their match, and they lost that. So that's probably going to be a good one for Altiora. Overall, I'd say the ban phase slight favor Altiora.
All right. Well, those are our maps. I think we're ready to roll. Our teams are prepared. So, gentlemen, I'll see you later. Bye, Mel. Have fun, guys.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Let's waste no time and get into this shebang-a-bang, if we can call it that, with Villa being the first one up. Livid is going to be starting on defense. And I mean, Villa's been kind of flipped on its head, Michael. We're not looking at a map that favors the defense as much as it used to. Obviously, attackers have a lot of opportunities to push all three of the main bomb sites that we do see, because Trophy Statuary is so seldom played now that Library and Living Room have, as a bomb site, has kind of eclipsed it, which is odd to see, certainly outside of the norm. But I can't help but think that our analysis for this matchup is just going to be thrown by the wayside, because, I mean, we looked at the OXG TSM match on Wednesday. The teams didn't take it seriously at the start, and then after the first map, that game tightened the hell up, and it ended up being one of the most exciting brawls that we've seen in the US division, whether it be the NA League, or sorry, whether it be in the US division or the Canada division in the NA League. And it was a nail biter. TSM ended up taking it, but by God, those teams didn't want to lose. We'll see if the same thing happens here. I think it might be the right call for Altiora to use this time to try and get 2 new players in the groove. Throwing players in for scrims, as you know and you can attest to, is not a proper substitute for in-game experience. So this is going to be a good opportunity for Sonar and Penguin to find their footing.
And at the same time, it is definitely going to put Altiora at a disadvantage here. And no matter how you shake it, making roster moves, or not really roster moves, I guess, more rotating players is always going to upset the hen house. So Livid a slight edge in that regard. We talked also a little bit about how with the Brian bring bot onto the Livid roster, they have kind of a wealth of experience to pull on as a team, and at least I expect Livid to continue to grow as they hammer down on this roster. It's worked for them so far in stage 2, and we'll see if Livid can continue to meet success with their current lineup. The only team that they've actually lost to, of course, being Mirage, who you would expect Livid to lose to, given that they're, well, based on the last week's results, the #1 in the Canadian division.
Yeah, that performance on Villa by Mirage really did throw a wrench in the plans for a relatively easy victory on their part. And I mean, I know that fans of Altiora and the staff on Altiora might not like that we consistently praise Mirage, but brass tacks, Mirage is the best team in the Canada division. I mean, it's closer than it was, I would say, but they are still the favorites, and always will be until the moment that they prove to us that they are not. So we can hype up Altiora as much as we want, but I think you're very correct with the fact that bringing in Sonar and Penguin are going to force this team to make some changes. We'll see how much it actually helps. Whether it makes Altiora a better team in the long run, I don't know. I honestly don't really hate Guns in terms of his performance. I think he was pretty decent. Yeah, he was inconsistent. Maybe Sonar and Penguin are direct upgrades. We don't know. That's something we're going to have to watch for.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I looked at this Altiora team and I didn't necessarily point my finger at Guns as being the sole issue, but I'm not coaching the team. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And another thing to note is that sometimes it's attitude. Sometimes a player just doesn't get along with leadership. Sometimes a player is unruly, argumentative, toxic, etc. And they can be the most skilled player in the world. And if they're getting cut and you're left there scratching your head, it could be because it was attitude and not what actually happens in the server.
Also has to do with synergy as well, right? Sometimes you just have players that don't mesh well with other players. You could have 5 of the best players in the entire world, and they could just not have a good connection with each other. But all that said, we've got about a minute already used up in this round, and Altiora has used it wisely, taking control above the site. They're going to get the first pick. It's Brian who goes down. The smoke of all operators. That is not great for Livid. Lose the man count advantage, and a great drone there will allow Spirits to pick up kill number 2 onto Hypers, who is trying to play by landing. That sneaky play not working out for Livid, and well, the roam, the anchor play, all suffering now that Altiora have this top floor control.
Losing Brian is particularly damning. Both he and Zigolo were the standout performers for Livid, in my opinion. So if at least you've still got one, and Zigolo has some form of leadership on this team. You could see clearly how excited he was when Livid had overpowered Nordic in the previous matchup, and now Nordic, a team that we thought were the second best in the Canada division, will have to fight for their lives in relegations, just as Tempo Storm will have to do the same thing over in the US division. Nonetheless, with over a minute to go, you're defending on kitchen and you've lost some pretty crucial utility, including all of that post-plant or anti-plant denial from Brian's smoke. More in the hands of the Nitro Cell of Rowdy Owly and whatever evil eyes are still in play from the Maestro of Zigolo, who had just used his impact grenades to try and defang some of the push, especially that hard breach that was going on at the laundry wall. Zigolo knows there's somebody in pantry and has read the call of fire away and chip away at the HP of Sonar, but not enough to finish it off. He's playing a dangerous game. Down goes Eska, the best performer on Altiora previously, and both Livid and Zigolo, or Zigolo and Rowdy Owly, get in on this. Diffuser goes down, so it's a 3v3. Post-plant. With Euphoria above, he'll have to watch for a retake and see if anybody from Livid dares challenge on that position. For now, it looks like they are mostly focused on the first floor. A great shot from Omega as he tries to return to the bomb site. He'll catch Spirits with a Pokeball. Down goes Zigolo to Penguin as well, so a 2v2. The problem is that you are slowly running out of time. Great Nitro Cell from Rowdy Owly means that Euphoria from above will have to do even more work than before. Waiting for somebody to get onto that diffuser. It's Rowdy Owly, and Euphoria will be challenged. Running out of time. He's going to have to play this one perfectly. There he goes. And 7 seconds hits. No time for Omega to be able to get on this one. Euphoria, what a play from above. Congratulations. You won your team that round. Dad insult to injury. He gets the final pick on Omega right as the clock strikes 0, and Altiora takes round number 1.
Well played there from Euphoria. Great patience from above. That whole round was a little bit messy, but in the end, the attack was the better team. Altiora doing a great job on their execute through laundry and through storage. The key to that round for Altiora was the lack of site presence from Livid, which is curious because Livid had a very extensive setup in the site. They just didn't seem keen on actually holding any of the angles that they set themselves up for. I'm not sure why, but the fights weren't taken from Livid. And since they lost their smoke as the first casualty in the round, they weren't able to play that kind of disengage, peel off, delay game that we usually see the defenders play. Because that wasn't an option for the defense, and because they played passively, didn't have their guns up confronting the attack as they assaulted into the site, or at least not enough of them, Altiora were able to get full site control, get that plant down by island, and play the post plant. Simple as that. Livid did a valiant, or had a valiant effort, I guess I should say, on retaking into the site, but it wasn't enough in the end. The biggest problem being that they, at that moment, had already forfeited far too much control. And, well, to put it bluntly, they tried to retake as individuals, not as a team.
One thing that I commented on was how Livid would need to retake the top floor and whether they'd be able to get there or not. I think that they were more a victim of time and circumstance than anything else, especially if they didn't have intel on where Euphoria was playing. It's a safe bet that when it's a 3v3 and the diffuser is down, somebody is either far off site, either out of the building or above, waiting for you to try and hop on that diffuser in a position that can be countered or punished from a window or a doorway that the attackers can spring through. And I mean, there is usually more of a thought process behind where you plant the diffuser than some people might think. So clearly not knowing where Euphoria was at the start was a problem for Livid. If they had known that somebody was above, they might have bothered to put somebody in a position to challenge him. But I mean, it's also a Nomad. You could have air jabs there and might have just fed yourself to Euphoria anyway. Tough spot to be in for Livid regardless. But I gotta say, it was pretty close given the fact that they surrendered 2 opening picks to Altiora essentially for free. And were able to battle back despite that. It looked like they were going to be able to pull off a retake as they'd dwindled Altoria's... I can't pronounce their name, man.
Altiora?
I don't know what it is. Altiora.
Alt-E-Ora.
I know, but every single time it's like the word tuberculosis. It's like every single time I go to say it, I have to think about it.
I have another word. I don't remember what it is, but it's not tuberculosis and it's not Altiora. But
it's aluminum for a lot of people.
I know exactly what you mean, though.
Aluminum is a lot of people. They're like, aluminum.
Well, it's either aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you're from, right? Aluminium, I think, is technically correct, but for some reason...
it's British, yeah.
Yeah, it's if you read it out, it's like reading the letters. That's the technical pronunciation. Yeah. It makes sense. But everyone just says aluminum. Anyway, aluminum aside, we got a study hold here. This is really curious. The shield in the corner... Kate is not... This is a really difficult spot to hold, but if you pair it with the top main hold, it can work out.
It sounds like an air jab got hit as... What was it? Hypers had ran out down below in Pantry trying to catch somebody out on the study rappel, but nobody was there. A tiny bit of damage done to Zigolo, as Euphoria has also taken some damage, and the only people other than Omega that have lost HP in this lobby are those two Moroccan operators. Other than the study hold, there's also a bathroom hold, and Hypers dies for nothing. This is the second round in a row where he has been ineffective on his roam, whether it be killing time or killing people, and that's pretty important for him. Zigolo's shield is gone, and Altiora are now going to pressure, and that should be an easy kill, and it is indeed. Two, in fact, for Altiora, for Sonar and Penguin. They've managed to control the top of 90, or at least Classical Hallway, and Rowdy Alley trying to get back somewhere off the bomb site. He gets punished for it. A flawless round from Altiora as they sweep into the bomb site. They just had some due diligence and homework to do beforehand, but they end up capitalizing off of it, and not a single member of Livid finds the scoreboard that round.
Well, I'm going to be blunt, Parker. Altiora walked into study, into a crossfire, into a Guzmant mind, and they won two separate fights. I mean, I know that the Cade lost a shield in the corner of study, but we still had that crossfire from top main and study corner onto the study door. At least Penguin should have been punished for the push there. And, you know, you expect Sonar to get the refrag after Penguin dies. Obviously, that's why they set up like that. They went for a double push. They're like, okay, yeah, just try and I'll trade you out. No big deal. But Livid didn't get a single kill that round. The crossfire between top main and study didn't work out. The whole thing was just an absolute catastrophe for Livid on the defense. I think right now, Parker, if I may be so bold, the main issue for Livid currently appears to be the fact that their guns are jammed.
I could agree with that.
And I expect them to, you know, clear those jams and to warm up and to get into this deep into this. We're just not seeing the direct contention, the head-to-head contention that I think most would anticipate in the Livid Altiora match. Right. Now, another caveat I want to add to this is we have seen this before. This is a best of three. Give it some time, we'll get there. But right now, Livid are still yet to wake up.
The big question mark on Livid's team for me is going to be Hypers. Hypers consistently plays on a role where you need to be really good. Hypers had a much improved game against Nordic. Mind you, that was an improved game against very clearly weaker opposition. Altiora is a better team than Nordic. Significantly so, I would say. So Hypers might be able to excel against players who aren't quite to the caliber that we find from the 5 of Altiora, but Hypers will struggle when playing against, you know, anybody on Altiora who's just a better shot and has better game sense and maybe plays functionally like a better team. So if Hypers has a very bad game, I imagine with it, we will see, unfortunately for Livid, the matchup go as well. I cannot believe what we just saw.
Oh, man. Okay, so...
That was as ranked as it gets. Ash just walks in, jiggle peeks 3 times, Zigolo's dead. That is unfortunate for Livid.
I'm not gonna talk about it. Livid are a man down now. Altiora, a good assertiveness, seeing the chance there, and taking it. Now, there goes your shield. That's the one we've seen Livid set up before when defending Kitchen on the rotate there. So Brian's got to figure out a new way to hold on to the site. This is key, though. Brian is still alive. This is a stark contrast to the last time the site was defended, where he was the first pick. Hypers will go down. You talked about how crucial he's going to be to the result, and having him gone like that will give Altiora a lot more, I guess, oomph in their gunfights. I don't have to deal with the Jaeger. There goes your gas canisters trying to delay the push into the site, but look at this. Altiora's already in the site. Brian is being encroached upon, and he'll be finished off by Sonar. Rowdy trying to get something done from Tarps, and Omega will need to now retake, but the plant is down. And in the post-plant, 5v2, make that 5v1. There's almost no chance for Omega. All he can hope to do is avoid the flawless round, and he won't even do that. Altiora get their 3rd round in a row.
This is unbelievable so far. What a performance by Altiora to start off with. It came down to a 1v1 on round number 1, and then since then there's been nothing in the tank for Livid as they've surrendered 2 rounds in a row. They've surrendered the opening pick both times.
Right.
Objective play on Kitchen, and frankly, objective play would have happened on round number 2 as well if it weren't for the fact that everybody on Livid died so damn quick, and 2 flawless rounds. That is really remarkable. You know, you watch most games and you'll get maybe 1, maybe 2, and that's about it. There's already 2 flawless rounds from Altiora in a row. We're only 3 rounds in now. Obviously, this is showing why Alt picked this map, and it's clearly one that they are very comfortable on. I mean, obviously, Livid and Mirage are a ways apart, even though Livid did bring the heat to Mirage maybe more than we thought after Livid made a couple roster moves. But at the end of the day, I think that now we can very firmly say, unless something changes over the next, I would say, 2 or 3 rounds, Altiora is the best Villa team in the Canada division, and they are showing exactly why, especially on attack here. They are making quick work of the setups that Livid are creating and being able to isolate the roamers and pick them off freely, while not really giving up much in the process. Not only are Livid getting away, or sorry, not only are Altiora getting away with those picks, but additionally, you notice that Altiora is not really sacrificing even much HP. Now, they're not dying, but they're not really taking much of a beating in the process. That ineffectiveness from Livid to be able to find the scoreboard, or at least be able to find their opponents with their crosshairs, is dooming them at the moment.
I mean, are we really surprised, though? I mean, Livid is the team that 7-1'd Mirage on this map. And, you know, we always like to talk about how Mirage is that #1 team in the Canadian division. And 7-1 against them is a very impressive performance. And I remember that match quite vividly, that map in particular. Altiora looked possessed. And here and now, I don't know that Altiora is going quite as hard as they did in the Mirage match. But I will say that they're not really meeting a lot of resistance right now. So instead of like a hot knife through butter in the Mirage match, it's more like a lukewarm knife through melted butter. Spirit's going to be challenging 90. And there's quite a lot of information being relayed here over by 90. Hyper is the man tasked with holding this position. Not an easy job. We'll see if he can manage it. He's yet to find the scoreboard. It's been really unfortunate for him so far, but he's not alone on that front. Brian joining him down there. We'll see if this is the round to change the flow. Another thing worth keeping in mind here is while Altiora has proven time and time again that their Villa is quite deep in terms of their understanding and their strategy, Livid has already proven to us that they aren't very adept at this map. They're only picking 2 sites over these 4 rounds, and it's still not working.
Yeah, it's been a 1A, 1B back and forth each way.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes the study take now for Altiora, but that,
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
What
Attackers have recovered their...
the hell are we watching right now?
He
Here goes the Goyo shield, and, well, hey, flawless streak broken. Rowdy Alley takes down Sonar. I have no clue on earth what we just saw from Altiora there, or why they were willing to try to burst that one out. I'm not exactly sure the goal. Regardless, Sonar dies for really no reason as he gets way too aggressive. So Penguin is going to cut off view from main stairs. Brian tossing down a smoke that'll hit the default spot where Esco was playing off of. Diffuser in the hands of the sledge, so you're going to have to try to wait out those gas canisters. Brian has 1 left with 20 seconds remaining. That's pretty good. Eska's not going to be able to live through this. He tries to bait it as best as he can as Penguin is watching behind, but now Penguin looks the other way. He's susceptible to getting flanked, and, well, if you're Livid, you're going to have to hurry. Spirits is there to a certain extent watching as well. Omega on the stairs now tussling. There's one for Penguin as he finds Brian. Diffuser goes down. Livid are losing everybody in the process, and Penguin, who had made some errors earlier on, is making up for it with 2 big picks. He stands guard inside a study as now Hypers maneuvers out. He'll manage to take down Eska, losing very limited HP in the process. A 2v2 with both Zigolo and Hypers low on HP. Diffuser is almost at the halfway mark. Hypers attempts the counter defuse, and somebody from Altiora is going to need to make it work. There it is! Penguin a 4K! Welcome to the show! Altiora take their 4th round in a row.
All right. Well, the key to that round was also it was 2 things, actually. It was the player and the position he played. Penguin and Study. That's really it. Yes, we did see the Zofia of Sonar somewhat lacklusterly give his life away just to get a shield, which was completely unnecessary, but job done. But following that kill, that Altiora handed over to Livid, Penguin managed to not only get control of top main, but from study, open up a wall into the aviator room and then hold down the rotate from all of the anchors and even shut down a roamer who tried to take control of top main after that plant went down. So great round from Penguin. He really did hold the team together and make all of the sacrifice that Altiora had when trying to push in through aviator so very worth it. That was funny. I don't know if you caught that. Zigolo and Rowdy were trying to reinforce the same thing. It's the little things, you know? Altiora continuing their dominance here in Villa. And again, I want to stress this for everybody who wasn't here for that Livid Mirage match. I don't think, or sorry, not Livid Mirage, Altiora Mirage, pardon me. I don't think you should expect Livid to suddenly come awake here and to start winning rounds on Villa. I don't think anybody expects that who's actually been watching these teams. The clear expectation, which is being proven over these last 4 rounds, is that Altiora will take map number 1, and we will move on to see what's going to happen, what kind of competition we have in map number 2, and possibly map number 3. But here and now, this is kind of fitting the mold for this match.
You've very definitively won this half. Altiora can just kind of... Man, look at the mistakes that Altiora committed to burn that ADS. And, you know, Sonar just charges in with no intel. Penguin just throwing everything but the kitchen sink to burn the ADS. And guess what? Altiora still won the round. All that utility squandered. A smoke, 2 Selmas. Wasted. Literally wasted. As they did not end up impacting the hold towards the top of the stairs. And yet Altiora still won the round with just a single Selma going on the wall and then good coverage from Penguin in his spot. I don't know how many mistakes Altiora need to commit in order to lose this. I mean, the thing is that other than that round, Altiora has been playing like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
They are doing so against a team that looks utterly discombobulated, if I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're going to a different site now. For the, you know, second to last round on the first half.
Penultimate.
Sure. The penultimate round of the first half. Yeah, they're going to a different site. This is not working out for them so far, though. As you can see, the Ash charges from below will get 2 shields, I believe. Yeah, that's 2 shields destroyed in very short order by Altiora. Great information gathering and great utility efficiency right there.
Owly is going to be able to swing on Astro Stairs as Hypers finds the first kill of this round, and it'll be the second round in a row now where the first blood breaks in favor of Livid. They're going to need a lot more than that, as Altiora will try to assert their dominance over by Astronomy. I think the Banshee at the top of the stairs has been taken care of. There goes a grenade exploding right into the lap of Rowdy Owly. He catches it. Down he goes, and Eska picks that off, immediately going on to drones. Brian, who was on cams, will now throw out a gas canister over towards Astro to try and slow down this advance from Altiora. Flanking down below is Hypers, but he sees the Zofia and still somehow loses the fight. He almost always should have won that one. Zigolo goes down now 2 to the second pick from Eska. And it's been Penguin who's been doing objective work and also getting away with murder. In this case, he gets away with his life as Omega down below doesn't have anything, trying to chip away at Penguin. He'll have to fall off. It's all on Omega's shoulders as Brian is gone, and with 15 seconds left, the Malusi has nothing but to just continue to fire away. I don't know exactly why Altiora is having such difficulty, but if they can't shut Omega down, never mind. Sonar does just that. 5 in a row for Altiora. And I'm going to I'm gonna take one of my favorite lines from a Counter-Strike caster who happens to be affiliated with Faceit, Mr. James Bardolph. Michael, people pay good money for this level of domination.
Yeah, they surely do, Parker. And I would have assumed
that's one of my favorite casting lines of all time, by the way.
I would have assumed they also pay for the discretion, but evidently not. So Livid putting their true colors on display here, but again, I don't know how many times I can say that Villa is Altiora's map. Should I say it again, Parker?
Say it again.
It's Altiora's map. And not only is it their map, it seems like they own it. I'm sure their names are written somewhere on this map by the devs. The badge applied. Livid is... I'm sure their namesake right now. But if they can just get past this for map number 2, that's what I've got in my head. I'm very... I don't think I've ever done this before, but I am at this point writing Livid off for map 1 and shifting my expectations for the match as a whole over to map 2 and 3. I don't think I've ever done that. And I hope that Livid proves me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like calling a map before it's over.
Right. A big part of it is...
I want to say this map is over. You know, like, yeah. I hate to say it for Livid, but you're not, like, 8 kills over 5 rounds. That's... I mean, I think Altiora saw the 7-1 against Mirage, and they're like, yeah, let's beat that.
Maybe
let's
they get
better.
7-0.
Let's try a 7-0, yeah. And credit where credit is due. Altiora has looked very strong. It's not even that Livid have been making that many mistakes. I mean, it's
right.
The biggest issue that I see for Livid right now is that they're not playing well as a team. They are playing like a series of individuals, which is something that you talked about as well in an earlier round. And that some of their better players are having major difficulties finding the score sheet. There goes Zigolo. Where is the pulse to not be supported from this way? Altiora have full control above. They get in, they get out. The Ash of Spirits is inside of Laundry yet again in the same position where they could challenge Zigolo off of. And with that Laundry wall being opened up, it's forced Omega to go back upstairs. He's going to give his position away and be known to Euphoria, who's just waiting for this kill inside of Master. Hypers will join him, though, and they manage to take out the air jab as Hypers advances. This could be as good of a play for Livid, and this, honestly, this could change the tide of the round. If Livid end up walking away with both of these picks here, then they will be in mighty fine shape. And there you go, Hypers dragging across. Euphoria takes out Omega, but Hypers gets dropped, and now it's going to be more on Euphoria to try and catch another. If he can do that, then this dams Livid up top. But it's a game of cat and mouse between Hypers and Euphoria, as they don't seem to know each other. The only thing that had given away the position of Hypers was that air jab, but the Jaeger can hit the deck and get away. Back in closer to the bomb site before getting punished by Sonar. Sonar looking for one more. Brian a shotgun out. He finds his first kill. Spirits credited with the kill on Owly, and Brian is gone as well. A flawless half for Altiora. They are up 6-0. They are on match point on their map, and damn if this isn't a fine showing from them.
Really is an impressive match overall for Altiora. They've been having a really good job on the attack. Most of it, in my opinion, stems from the disarray we're seeing on Livid's side. They have some clever ideas. I like that, for example, Hypers forced out bathroom control there. He did a lot of work with that. However, at that point, the site control was already forfeited. So it's I hate to say effort and futility because I feel like it's a reused term, but it's almost as if it's poorly timed, wrong moment. If that makes sense. There's so many other things that need to be done, and key in that round as well. When Hypers returned to the site, he had no idea that the site was already lost to the enemy. He wasn't returning with his gun up, ADS, staring into kitchen, ready to take a fight. Hypers was caught unawares when he swung into China with no information being relayed from his team. How the heck does that happen? I mean, there was a whole battle downstairs that we didn't get to see, but it happened. We saw the kill feed, and yet we still that information is not relayed on Livid's side. So that's something that's problematic for sure. That's something that Livid's going to need to reset when we get to map number 2 if they want to have any chance of taking this series. Altiora now transition to the advantageous side. Now, I know we've talked about how Villa is less defender-sided than it used to be, and that is facts. However, in the Canadian division at least, it's still predominantly defender-sided.
I think that you're looking at a more defender-sided division just because these 4 teams that compete are typically newer. They're still ironing things out, and the age-old defense is easier to strategize around than attack adage applies here. And I mean, whenever a new map pops out, it is almost always very defender sided because teams haven't come up with good attacking strats for it yet. And the defense sets the meta, they set the tempo, they set the pace. The attackers need to see what they can do to try to match that. Livid have a mighty big job on their hands. Brian has finally broken his donut and picked up a single kill, so now everybody is on the board. For Altiora, though, Sonar and Penguin, the two new additions, have a combined 13 kills over 6 rounds. Not a bad place to find themselves in. And obviously silencing us, as we were skeptical of their addition, especially given the fact that Mizio and Guns had not been terrible on this team, but I've been impressed with Penguin's utility work thus far, and Sonar seems to be quite confident as well. Hypers leans the wrong way. There's Spirits. 4 kills remaining for Altiora to be able to put this map in the books. Spirits doesn't lose a single point of HP playing on these main stairs.
It's especially rough given that Hypers is one of your top performers currently at 3-0-7. He's going to be called on for those frags, but he's just not there for what could be the final round. There's Brian, though, at least, who will get one, and that's top main control established. Well done. Good coordination between destroying that Goyo shield and forcing the Jaeger down the staircase, and Brian just taking the fight. From below, the Zofia will open up underneath Sonar, who takes a little bit of damage, but he's not stressing it. He's still got 3 gas canisters and only 50 seconds to delay. Hard breach onto the wall from the ace of Rowdy Owly. He starts getting control over by games and can facilitate the attack into the site itself. But Livid needs to be swift about this. They still haven't opened up the wall on the west side of the game's bar, which means that Penguin can continue to play snug in the corner. We've also got players on defense over by landing, and the smoke is still alive, so this is a difficult prospect to assault.
Eska over towards Classical Hall. That Roni seeing a great amount of use because of its 1.5 scope, and well, it gets put to good use on Brian. Penguin swings out as well, and that's 2 kills for Altiora in very short order. All they need are 2 more. Omega will swing onto the Goyo, do some damage before trading that HP in the process. Zigolo trying to flank on in. He's in the middle of the bomb site. He's got to find 1. 3 seconds left. Can you attempt to defuse? No, you can't. 7-0 Altiora. That is it for Villa. It is done and in the books. Livid will need to show up in much better fashion for Theme Park, or this will be a quick one. Flawless victory. 7-0 Altiora.
You really very rarely see flawless victories, but I think most people could have expected that one. Altiora are the Villa team, and that is evident in this performance here. Yeah, you said it yourself, Parker. I talked about it a little bit there. Livid need to reset. That's all there is to say about that. They need to take this time to reset for map number 2.
And boy, they're not going to get a ton of time to do it. But before we bring Jackie on in and we can talk about what was Villa, let's start a theme park. But before that as well, we have a break. So sit tight. We got a break for you. And then theme park. And then Jackie. And then analysis. Hooray! Sit tight. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, and I'm Jackie Jing with Kicks. Actually, you guys get mad when I don't say your full names.
It's fine.
Michael Stockley and Parker McKay.
It's Mackay.
Got it, right?
It's fine.
Is there really
Yeah,
Mackay?
it's only been 2 stages for...
Oh my
Pretend it's an
goodness.
I.
Okay.
It's easy. You got it.
Oh my goodness. Parker McKay. Got it that time?
You did?
Okay, good. I'm just trying to kill time so you guys don't have to talk over these replays for too much because that was...
This is the Altiora montage.
That was
what
strange.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. Altiora montage. Yeah. That was just domination station, gentlemen. I mean, if you'd like, go over the replays, but like you said, this is not really highlights Altiora montage playing right now, folks. So
there wasn't
yeah.
much from Livid to really be all that proud of. They finished with what? They finished with a combined, I think they were 3-3, 2-2, and 2. So a grand total of 12 kills over 7 rounds. That is terrible. I mean, there's no way to go around that. You know, I understand that coaches and players get upset when we are mean to the teams, but there's no sugarcoating that. That is awful. So it's, yeah, I mean, look at that.
No.
I think that says the whole story right there. You know, there's
That's gonna be a meme. That was great.
I have not seen that lopsided match in a very long time. So
Yeah. I mean, you know, that map wrapped up and the three of us were chatting and I was just like, what happened there? I mean, like that was a mental breakdown. And yeah, both of you are just like, yeah, no, Kicks, talk to me, man. Like, I mean, it just definitely seems like Livid was lost. You know, we talked about the chaos, but then I don't know. I don't even know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my first thought going into this is that, okay, Villa is, of course, Altiora's map, and they look really good on it. We saw them play against Mirage, so yeah, they're going to win it, sure. But yeah, we'll probably see Livid get a few rounds here and there, put up a fight in a few of the rounds that they lose as well. But none of that happened. And that's where I'm surprised, because yeah, the expectation is Altiora's going to win, but still, why is it like this, though? Because it wasn't just a win for Altiora. It wasn't just a 7-0 for Altiora. There were flawless rounds in there as well. I think at least 2. And it was complete domination throughout. There was one single round, where I thought maybe Livid's going to take it. It was an Aviator defense, but they lost in the end because Penguin was in study, and he dropped a 4K. So, you know, it's the individual efforts aren't there for Livid. The teamwork isn't there for Livid. The day seems completely off for Livid. I'm not sure what's going on with that. They're not playing up to the standards that I would set for them. And it's a little bit uncomfortable to watch.
That was uncomfortable to watch, to say the least. I am sitting here, keeping my fingers crossed that Map 2 theme park is going to go much better than that. But our teams are ready, gentlemen, so I'm going to let you all take it away. But Parker, I'm going to leave you with this question. What did Livid just say to themselves between that short break? I mean, like, what was the pep talk like? And then y'all just take it away, and hopefully that goes much better. Map 2, please be better.
I mean, probably damn. Or they didn't say anything. You know, I think there's a lot of power in silence. You hear lots of stories from when, you know, kids are playing football or soccer or baseball or whatever. They go back to the dressing room in between periods, in between halves, in between quarters, and then the coach just doesn't say anything for 5 minutes. And then everybody goes back out onto the field or the pitch or whatever. That silence says more than enough. I don't know what Livid said. I mean, they're all talking right now in the lobby. Obviously, Altiora is talking a lot more because they are amped. But both of these teams are aware how little is actually on the line with this match, right? At the end of the day, it is solely bragging rights. There is nothing else that these teams care about in regards to what they're getting out of a victory or a loss here. For Altiora, they bring in 2 new players to try and learn. For Livid, maybe they're trying to iron out some strats in a way that you can't do when you're dry running or you can't do when you're scrimming because, like I said, match experience cannot be replicated outside of a match. Who knows? But Theme Park is an extremely, I'm not even going to say very, I'm going to say an extremely tactical map for a lot of teams, and it can be very heavy on defense, and that's where Altiora is going to start. Kix pointed out before we even got into map number 1 that we haven't seen Theme Park yet in Canada Division, so we don't know, or between these 2 teams rather, so we don't know what to expect here. The operator bans so far are going to look pretty similar. Capitao and Thatcher are exactly the same. Wamai and Mira were banned out on Villa. Will we see them as well, or will there be a change? Well, things are going according to plan right now.
Okay. Maverick's still in play. He'll, of course, be crucial. As I'm sure most of you know, this is a very hard destructor-heavy map. So the Thatcher ban is going to sway a lot of strategy, though Thatcher bans are pretty standard. In fact, I would compare Thatcher bans in 2020 to Mira bans back in 2018, 2017. It's the sort of thing that it changes the landscape of the game, but everybody is so used to it now that changed landscape is the norm. So Livid's not going to be stressing it. One thing that I have to say, because it is of course going to be relevant, is that, and we talked about this in Villa, the Canadian division in general is just a little bit more defender-sided than you might expect for some maps. Consulate being the one exception because it was only played once and it had like a 25% defensive win rate, but that doesn't count. Only played once. Anyway, it's generally more defender-sided. We're playing Theme Park, which is universally pretty defender-sided as well. Altiora, the team that just 7-0'd Livid on Villa, is starting defense. And if Altiora picks up a few rounds in a row here, it could be a mortal blow to Livid's morale.
As if map number 1 wasn't already.
Yeah, right.
As if there's any way to salvage a 7-0. I mean, there are teams that have been on the record that have said at some point the beating is just so bad that you just stop caring. Like if it's like a 7-1 or a 7-2 and you're thinking you're gonna win, you're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of humbling. Wow, that sucks. When it's 7-0, it's like, man, we suck. Let's just move on. And there are teams that will tell you that there is a point where it goes from being upset to being absurdity. And when it's absurdity, you just kind of laugh it off and you get back to business. It's easier to mentally reset when you have literally nothing to be proud of. It's not like Livid are like, man, we really tried, 7-3, boy, that was tougher than we thought. It's like, man, we got annihilated. Let's just focus on Theme Park. We got this. Let's shake it off.
Yeah.
And that's something that hopefully bringing in Brian will do for this team, because I mean, Brian has been on the receiving ends of embarrassing losses, given that he's been in Pro League and playing at a top level for years. Brian's been active in the professional scene for 4 years, 4.5 years, something like that. 3.5 years. So it's like he's had his fair share of strong wins. He's had his fair share of strong losses. He's somebody who's going to be like, hey guys, I've been here before. It sucks. Let's just kind of laugh and move on. We'll get him next time.
Yeah. And I've been talking about it at length. It's definitely a big point for Livid. Brian's experience and his ability to, I'm sure, aid the team in situations like this. So that's going to be called upon, I'm sure, in a moment like this. An even exchange, but it goes the way of Altiora in the end as Penguin picks up the kill onto Hyper. So Livid trying to clear out the roamers there. They do manage to get one, Eska, but Spirits is making it even worse. He will get refragged, but still Altiora remain on top. Livid do have top floor control, but they now have no soft destructor. They lost Brian on the sledge. So while Livid has gotten control of the top floor, they're not really going to be able to use it for very much other than getting the mute jammer that they just shot from above, likely on the yellow wall. That'll allow them to use Ace to open the yellow wall, so they won't have to use the Maverick Torch. Oh, but no, it's Electroclot as well, and they are going to have to get that before they open it up. Rowdy now knows this. He's rotating back. The question is he going to go for the Electroclot, or is he going to try and open the drop? What's the plan here for Livid?
I'm not exactly sure what the focus is. I mean, you talked about it right before we got in. This is a very hard destructor heavy map. And I mean, hey, good for Livid that you got the 2 hard destructors remaining. Penguin could go for the flank here. He's not rocking the Roni, but he's got the Commando. He sees the Maverick. Good patience. Yoink! Double yoink. Penguin with 2 big kills. That's the round for Altiora. They're up 1-0.
Well played there for Penguin. Great patience inside of lockers. I have to say that even if you aren't going to drone lockers in a situation like this, I know it seems absurd to expect someone to be there, but you should at the very least face check it. Because then you give yourself a chance. Penguin has just taken away your chance, and it wasn't Penguin's play that did it. It was Livid's inaction, their unwillingness to even check lockers. Their expectation, their assumption that everyone on defense will be playing in sight because, well, obviously they would be in that situation because, right, that's the safe way to play. Sometimes being a little brazen goes a long way. As I like to say on occasion, sometimes doing the stupid thing works out really, really well. So, holding in lockers, no one checking. Altiora take round number one. Well played there from Penguin. A great 3K to start things off. He has, time and time again, proven himself capable of these independent actions and solo carries, on occasion being the glue for the squad.
So that Altiora had a really big benefit by starting on defense here, and I mean, you look at this and they clearly know what they're doing. I like the defensive setup that we have right now. They're going to be defending over on bunks, but they're not going to be playing entirely inside of the bomb site. They'll consolidate their defenses on that B bomb or the A bomb. They're likely going to keep one person playing in B to rotate between B and A as needed, or at need, I suppose, either or.
Makes sense.
So we're going to be watching towards the old initiation side office. Maybe somebody out on arcade or near arcade balcony. Which is where Spirits is right now, so. Livid know that the key to this is going to be cafe, and then if they can also get main lobby and take those arcade stairs, that it just pushes the defenders over towards the east side of the building, which can be challenging for you to retake, especially that A bomb site, because the only way into the A bomb site from the east side is where Penguin. Pengu. I mean, he may with what he's doing to Livid right now, he might as well be Pengu. So
true,
but he's playing over by the doorway into the A bomb site, and he'll get away as quickly as he can to join the Goyo next to him.
Now, Livid have a lot of focus placed below. Spirits is going to be the one who has to deal with that. He's playing on the arcade stairs. Here comes the push from below. Omega's going to open up underneath, and he'll give away the intentions of Livid. Spirits has got to be aware now of that downstairs presence, but he's also trying to hold the cafe hallway, the cafe balcony vault from the window, and worry about his flank. There's a lot of layers here for Spirits to deal with. It's being very cautious. The thing about Livid right now that I'm noticing is that they're not forcing any engagement, really. They're not going for any assertive plays. They're just kind of sizing up their opposition. There it is, though. That's the pick on the Spirits. That's exactly what Livid needed. That was the player on arcade stairs, which means now Livid can also push up the staircase to pressure the site. And that affords a crossfire to the attack. This is the best round we've seen from Livid in this series so far.
And all they've done is got the opening pick. That's it. Boy, oh boy. Well, the thing is that Livid are starting to get ever closer, and this is what I talked about. You take lobby, you take arcade stairs, you take cafe, and now you have pushed the defenders over towards the east side of the map, and you'll continue to pick them off one by one, except with Penguin, as he gets punished by none other than Hypers. So 2 kills for Hypers. Sonar's going to peek this and die, because that's how it's going to work. He's going to look towards Cafe. He's not going to have the intel that he needs. Eska sends up the stairs to watch by Cafe, as that'll be Ziglo and Brian in that direction. Euphoria looks to be sitting on cams. Down goes Sonar. That's what I said. He was going to swing. He was going to die. This could be a flawless round for Livid. They only need one more kill. Eska denies it with a kill onto Brian. He doesn't have a nitro cell. He barely has any HP. All he's going to do is try to wait it off with this SMG as Rowdy Alley goes for the plant, nearly down. Eska's in trouble here. This is an unwinnable situation for him. Number one, Cafe is still controlled by Livid. Eska knows that. He tries to fire away at the wall, but there's nobody who's going to give him a single thing. An air jab down below will find him. Intel given to Livid, and they'll finish him off from above, as that's Ziglo to give Livid their very first round, and they are overjoyed.
As you can see by their faces, over the moon, really just eating that one up. So what happened there was we saw Livid take control of Cafe. They lost nothing in that control grab, which is huge. They also managed to get the kill onto the player in the arcade stairs. So that pick, again, as I mentioned at the time, afforded a crossfire for Livid. They were able to use arcade and Cafe to crossfire into the site. Most importantly, they killed Penguin, who was playing at top yellow. The reason that's the final nail in the coffin in that round is because Penguin was the player who would have been able to stop the Ace Selmas from opening up the site wall. If the site wall doesn't get opened up, the Smoke in sight has a lot more maneuverability and is able to play close on that wall to deny a push out through the cafe hallway. This means that while Livid has arcade control, they're going to struggle to actually take the fight to the site. But that didn't happen because Penguin died, so the wall got opened and the round was effectively over at that point. Well played to Livid not getting overzealous at any point throughout that execution, not getting ahead of themselves, and realizing the advantage and the control that they had, and just letting it win the round for them. You saw a lot of players in Altiora get a little bit antsy, start to maneuver, as you said, Parker, Sonar, for example, peeking out because he has to, and dying in the process.
And now here we are on yet another bomb site. And I pinpointed, I feel good. I'm going to pat myself on the back for a second here because I pinpointed the weaknesses of Altiora's defense right at the start and exactly how Livid was going to take the bomb site, and they did exactly as I expected. And Spirits was the one that was the first line of defense. And when he fell, so too fell the castle. So now Altiora are going to go over to Office, and they're going to be on the east side of the map where they had been pushed to by Livid in the previous round to try to battle back from here. Livid are not going to take from the west. They'll take from the east, which is going to be over by Cash. And they're already in the building. I like the confidence that Livid is displaying. It's very easy for them to be deflated and feel beaten down with, well, that first map still in the back of their minds. But they are playing with much more prowess than I think we saw on Villa at any particular point.
Well, they got around, so.
I mean, regardless of whether they... Oh, that's a problem.
Unfortunate, says the doctor, as Euphoria is disconnected from the lobby. Altiora, a man down now. They'll have to work their way back in. Euphoria makes a reconnection, so not sure what happened there. At least you won't have to rehost the lobby. Yet. Livid are still trying to contest initiation. We're halfway through this round now, and the defense is really well holding an extension of this site.
As the attackers have slowed down a little bit, and they do so while having an advantage. They're not going to get that opening pick because Euphoria DC'd, but that's still one component of this Altiora defense, which is now missing. Grenade is ready, and it does a tiny bit of damage to Sonar, who will continue to just layer that doorway with gas. There's one more canister remaining for Sonar, and for the moment, it's dissuading Livid from charging on in. They're going to want that default plant, as Rowdy Owly has the drone on Sonar to know when to push onto the smoke. Information for Livid that will surely come in handy as they look to try to extend the lead that they already have. They'll find one onto Eska, and next up will no doubt be Sonar, whose last gas canister goes off. Brian takes some damage, but he's in, finds two big kills, and it's Spirits in a 1v4. Altiora's defense here on Theme Park not proving to be particularly good so far. Spirits doesn't seem to have any intel, and he's going to need to engage with long lines of sight that will obviously benefit the attackers. And there's a Nomad on the board as well. Air jab just above Spirits. He gets knocked over. That's unfortunate for him. And they will look to coalesce around this position. Spraying through the cash wall. Spirits take some damage. And even more damage for him. As it's the Ash of Omega, will finish him off. Livid take their second round in a row. And they are looking significantly improved on a map that they no doubt should be doing better on.
Well played there to Livid. So yeah, the execution is working great for them. We're seeing the same tools being utilized here by Livid in that second and third round. The key to Livid's attack so far appears to be letting Altiora be the ones to make the mistakes. And normally that wouldn't work because, you know, Altiora wouldn't make mistakes, right? You'd think they'd have the control that they need in order to avoid that issue, that dilemma. However, Altiora is setting up in a way that is affording Livid more crossfire than is really necessary. So what I mean by that is the defense starts making mistakes when they mess up or when they are forced to make mistakes. I know that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but it works like this. If you get a crossfire on an anchor position, one that can easily be held if it's only being challenged from one angle, now being challenged by two angles, that player is forced to either move and address one of those angles or die if time continues to play out and he doesn't do anything. And usually the defense goes to great lengths to avoid those kinds of scenarios playing out, to play and control those angles so the attack cannot isolate fights like that, cannot force out mistakes. But Livid are encroaching on these sites, on their attacks, so slowly and so carefully and so methodically, and Altiora is not really challenging certain key crossfire locations. And so Sometimes it's Altiora just messing up. Sometimes it's Altiora being forced to make a mistake. It doesn't matter either way. No matter how you look at it, Livid are slowly chewing through and chopping up this Altiora defense.
There's a mental bit at play here as well for Altiora, because it's going to be a hard fall if they are mentally in this game and they begin to struggle. It could be tough for them to find that footing again, knowing how much they punished Livid on map number 1, but I don't expect necessarily that to be the case. I mean, we'll wait and see. Down goes Hypers, though, as Penguin is better on this roam, and he's relatively far from the bomb site of Throne, but the Mozzie still gets his kill anyway and manages to get away. I don't know if Penguin was playing selfishly with those pests to aid him or not. There's a mute on the board as well, so Livid's confidence on entry is going to be thwarted a bit just by the gadgets brought out from Altiora. And Eska has this highway from over inside of the safe to get to the cafe if he needs to, where Penguin is playing off of. Brian's solo entry over in that position. What a play by Brian. I don't know if he reads that or if it's just a lucky pre-fire, but regardless, Penguin dies nonetheless. And it's back into a 4v4.
So the even exchange, but the time is definitely on Altiora's side. Most importantly, look at this. Oh, okay. Spirit's lost, and there's no refrag from Eska, who's attempting to challenge from top dragon. I was going to say, most importantly, Altiora has control upstairs, and they can flank the Livid attack. That control is maintained thanks to Eska, but the man advantage is lost. So, yeah. Livid are in a decent spot. Much better than they were not too long ago. Eska's looking to punish the Maverick, but he's unlikely to get the angle. Maverick playing this one safe, knowing that he's got someone above. The C4 could hit, but it has to travel a very long distance. His best bet is to go above and C4 from above, but he chooses not to do that. Instead, creeping down the stairs where his teammate died. He'll get one, and the second. All in one magazine. That's impressive stuff. Peeks with the reload, but Zigalo's somewhere else now, and he's challenging from Dragon. He'll die to Eska's shotgun. And there you go. Altiora get their second round.
Not a bad play at all by Eska there. Impressive stuff. And I mean, I was almost certain he wasn't going to hear the ash at the bottom of those dragon stairs, but still manages to pull it off. And that's a fight that at close range, as long as you're in the head, that SMG-11 is going to shred with how high its DPS tends to be. So Altiora at least come back here. For a team that might not be the most practiced on Theme Park, as we assume Altiora necessarily isn't the most well-practiced because, well, they don't play this map and Livid chose it, the thinking would then be that Livid are going to be more comfortable. The fact that Altiora so far have kept pace 2-2 is pretty decent and a respectable outcome for now, but one more round I think would be considered a victory, because if you are Altiora, even though Theme Park is typically more defender-sided, you might not be the most familiarized with the map, and therefore going up against a team that should have their attacking strats somewhat down pat. 3 rounds, denying your opponent a victory on the side that they're starting on might be quite decent. At the same time, maybe Altiora is a little bit more practiced on Theme Park, and for them, a 3-3 scoreline isn't a victory because you allow Livid to stay too close before Livid switches to the better side, which would be on defense. So the problem with a map like this that we've never really seen before is all we can do is theorize. A, the Canada division plays out wildly different from the US division, so it's not easy for us to take the lessons learned from down south and try to apply them here. But additionally, the teams are nowhere near as experienced because they were all assembled in large for this division about half a year ago. So we have to ask ourselves, does conventional wisdom apply? I'd say more often than not, sure. So that's why we lean on it. Also allows us to get egg on our faces from time to time where we look wrong, because we simply don't know if these two teams play this map reliably and if they're any good at it.
You know, it could be that the reason that we're playing on Theme Park right now is because Livid is aware that Altiora doesn't like this map. That's a very real possibility. It's rare in newly developing divisions to see that kind of awareness of your opponent. Generally, teams will base their map picks and bans on themselves and their preference, but maybe Altiora knows something that we don't know, or rather Livid knows something that we don't know, and that's why we're here. What we do know is that there is one roamer above, as Omega suspects. Ashing from below, trying to challenge Spirits as he just gets droned out. Spirits' existence above the attack is going to slow them down. And that's really the only goal here.
Spirits on the roam, up above 90 seconds, killed off of the clock. Some troubles with that drone as he's inside of initiation. This is a defense down below, and this is the first time that we're seeing a drug lab defense, if my notes are correct. I also don't think it's called drug lab anymore. I think it's just called lab, by the
and
way.
storage, yeah. They took the drug
They took
out
the
of
drugs out.
Yeah.
There's no drugs.
It's powdered sugar now, apparently.
Yes, it is. That's exactly correct. It is just exactly that. I was going to make a witty reference, but I decided against it. So regardless,
Tell me later.
regardless, the bomb site is not over in the typical location. So barrels, obviously not as crucial, but Euphoria gives his life up nonetheless. The opening pick will go to Omega on Livid, but there's not a ton of time left. So the pivot from Livid is going to have to happen quite quickly. Penguin watching from above. He's got the hatch open, and he can rain hellfire down on Livid as they try to push into the bomb site. However, Penguin had been spotted, so he shakes himself off and he goes over towards the arcade stairs, and this is where he'll play the game from. The silhouettes from Livid lined up over by barrels, and Rowdy Alley gets taken down by Spirits. A refrag from Zigolo, and now Penguin is going to have to drop. Diffuser surrendered over by barrels, and Penguin gets called in. He's just a bit too late to catch it. If he drops in the wrong direction, he's going to get spotted as the Ash of Omega is playing behind the barrels. This is the opportunity for Penguin if he's going to take one. Eska kill of his own. Brian answers back. Omega taking damage as he works his way into the bomb site. Now Penguin's here on the flank. He sees the Ash taken down. He can't pivot. Brian and Hyper's the final 2 kills. And Livid win with a 2v0, and they take a lead in the game.
Nice save there for Hypers and Livid as a whole. Having a great first half to this map number 2. A 3-2 is a win there for Livid. Even if this goes 3-3, Livid can still pat themselves on the back and say, we did a good job. We executed well. We took that first half. Altiora clearly struggling just a little bit here on Theme Park. Their defense has looked pretty shaky. Livid's attack there was a very simple structure. In fact, it was just a horizontal take from one side of the building to the other. There was no roam clear above. And you'd expect that to really punish the attack. But curiously, all the vertical control that the defense had really didn't work out for much at all. You could call that timing. You could call that luck. It really doesn't matter. The key to the round is the fact that despite the roamers above, and despite Livid not clearing out the roamers above, didn't seem to matter. Now, we've got a daycare defense for the last round of the first half here from Altiora. The best they can hope for at this point, of course, is that 3-3. That is solid, but it is not a winning half for the defense. Livid, again, still in control based on this first half performance.
This is what I said is the win condition I thought for Altiora was 3 rounds. I find that they're going to be in a really tough spot when we swap. Or maybe we're looking at a Bizarro world where all of a sudden Villa is now attacker favored, and so too is Theme Park. I mean, there are smarter people than me who will have answers to these questions, but there's nothing for me to believe that Theme Park is suddenly skewing towards the attack. Maybe Livid are just more practiced on that than Altiora is on defense. I'm not sure. Livid have shown a lot of confidence, though, and Altiora tend to have been playing like individuals. We saw it from the Mozzie play. We've seen it from the Jaeger play, where they're oftentimes unsupported. Eska has been there for backup on 1 or 2 rounds, but ultimately giving up and surrendering that first pick when you don't have anybody helping you at all is not ideal. And now Penguin might be the one here as well. He's going to get shot from 2 different angles. He's trapped inside a barrel room, and there's no way for him out. If he doesn't look properly, he's going to get punished by what I believe is the sledge of Brian. There's some damage done from above, but Brian peels off, leaving Penguin inside of barrels alone. Down goes Hypers to Sonar, so that entry from Livid not proving out to be the way they want it to. There's technically, with the forfeit, 3 opening duels for Livid, 2 for Altiora in this first half, and Spirits is still on deck inside a cafe. He's being supported by these 2 magnets of the Wamai tossed out. Engaging with Brian for now. As we hit the 90-second mark, Spirit's still looking for more as 3 members of Livid are all stacked up on that cafe balcony. No Nitro Cellar explosive in hand for Spirits.
He's just going to get up snug in this corner, trying to stay alive. I don't think the attack will expect him there, but surely one player on Livid is going to face check the corner. He does have ADSs, so he's not very worried about these nades and smokes that are coming in. He's very, very protected. And he'll take down Brian, who had attempted to throw that nade in. He won't get the second kill, but sees an opponent not looking the right way, and he'll actually get to safety. The fact that Spirits just got a kill there and got out without being punished is puzzling. Penguin will die at least elsewhere, so Omega picking up the slack for Livid's attack here. But the cafe hold for Altiora has worked out and is going to continue to work out as Spirits continues to persist in cafe. He's spotted but not shot by Zigolo. Spotted again but not shot by Zigolo. The miss is ringing out. And there's still an ADS. There are still magnets. And Sonar is going to get Omega, who had been challenging from elsewhere in the building, leaving just Zigolo and Rowdy Owly both on this balcony with only 20 seconds to go. Almost no chance. As Rowdy vaults in, he dies quite quickly, as you would expect. And as the challenge in the cafe is going to result in 1 kill, it will still result in the final 4 Spirits. Altiora take the round, and the half ends 3-3.
So that, to me, like I said, win condition met for Altiora. They're probably not going to be happy with it, but being able to slap the reset button, as we call it, and there you go. You annoying Twitter accounts that keep talking about this awful drinking game that they want to try to push whenever we repeat phrases. There's one you can add to the list. So
slap the reset.
Yeah, one of them was complaining apparently that they were making posts about like EUL repeated phrases and they got blocked on Twitter by Milos, and all I could think was, ha ha. So
what was the phrase?
I don't even know. It might surprise you, but I don't really exert much of my day and interest and energy in reading those types of tweets. I mostly just scroll and move on.
Gotcha.
I kind of look at it and I'm like, wow, that's dumb. And then I move on. It's basically the full extent of it. So,
yeah.
But
definitely
Twitter is a free website, Michael.
Yes. Definitely a lot of dumb things out there.
Twitter is a free website. Anyway, that first half, let's do a brief synopsis on it, because obviously I think there needs to be some analysis done, given that we are looking at 10 rounds for Altiora, 3 rounds for Livid so far in this matchup, but it is closer now on Theme Park than it obviously was on Villa, skewing those statistics. But the way that Livid played, I liked what they brought to the table. Now, I do think that they were aided a bit by a couple defenses where Altiora had a good defensive structure, but then have 1 or 2 players that would be off-site. And the problem is that when you have somebody playing alone without support, we have to try to decide if this is a conscious decision. There are teams that will send out 1 player with no cams, no gadgetry, outside of maybe 1 or 2 of their gadgets, maybe a secondary gadget like a deployable shield, and say, okay, your job here is to eat up a bunch of grenades, eat up a bunch of flashes, maybe a Zofia concussion or 2, kill about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then you're going to die. If you bring somebody down with you, cool. If not, no worries. And it's tough for us to make that judgment call. Other times we just see somebody roaming and we think, why are you over there with no help whatsoever? This seems very odd. There's nobody there to give you any backup. A good example of that right now is Hypers. Has he gotten himself stuck just because of where Altiora is coming from? We don't know.
Well, he's going to vault into Dragon, so he might have been if there was a cutoff from Altiora, but there's not. And the control and cache seems to be the focus for Altiora. Now, this is an armory defense, if I'm not mistaken here. So the roam upstairs is just for delay purposes. Mega is playing a bullet hole right here into bathroom, but nobody peeks into him, so no kill for that. Altiora going to be adjusting specifically for the site. Now that they know they have control of just a little bit of the top floor, mainly by Top Dragon, they can shift their focus to Teller's Gong and Maintenance. With Teller's Gong and Maintenance, they can facilitate their assault onto the site using that ace. Now, the one problem is there's going to be impact tricking going on here. Spirits will try to stop that with the stuns, and there will be likely nades from Eska as well. There's plenty of ADSs to protect Zigolo as he hides in the corner. The wall is the priority, though, for Altiora. They don't need to get the kill on the Maestro just yet, though that will be a problem later on.
There's a grenade to take out the mute jammer, and now Zigolo is going to need to make sure he hits that impact in the right spot. He'll hit it after it goes out one time. Another Selma's tossed out, and Zigolo will do the exact same thing. So 2 Selmas, and all they get is the single tick of the first, but thrown appropriately by Penguin the third and final time means that there will be an opening that you can wade through towards the back of the throne room. Problem is that there's going to be gas canisters from Brian, 2 remaining 40 seconds. That's a lot of time. Zigolo playing behind this deployable shield as well with the ADSs in front of him, which I don't believe have been fully burned out just yet. He's going to pop up and that Alta's just going to mow them all down. That is if Altiora decides to wade through that plume of smoke. Zigolo ever so patient, and he's going to continue to provoke a fight as he gets ever closer to that opening. Second gas canister from Brian goes over towards the main door of Throne, so Zigolo is now going to be the one watching the breach, but he's got double duty as he'll be looking behind him. Livid open things up with Hypers, presumably on the flank. Rowdy Owly gets taken down by Sonar, and Altiora claim the kill feed. They have, however, lost Euphoria and Eska, so it's a 2v2. Eska needs to get up at some point as Sonar and Penguin are there. Eska crawling on over. Brian picked off by Sonar. Diffuser gets planted. Big play from Omega. It's him versus Sonar in a 1v1. Omega at full HP, Sonar very low. Is the position of Sonar good enough? That is the question. Heads up gunfight. Mark's coming in. Omega shouldering some damage. He's behind the throne. Will he sit out as the king? He's going to get concussed in the process. Nitro sell out. He doesn't have intel. It claims its target, and he'll get the diffuser as well. Livid takes their very first round on defense from some stellar play from Omega.
Perfect timing for the flank there for Omega. The assertiveness in his play, the certainty in his actions for what gave his team the win in the end. Just knew exactly what he was going to be confronted with, and he knew how to deal with it. Nice 4K there for Omega. That one will definitely go on his CV. And Livid are starting to pick up a little bit of steam here. That round seemed to be Livid winning by default. The top floor roam gave no picks to Altiora. It delayed for maybe 30 seconds. But Keely, it gave no picks to Altiora. And then after the roamers returned to the site, there was only a sliver of a breach in the wall, thanks to the very adept impact tricking by the Maestro. And then, all of a sudden, as Altiora flooded the site, the kill feed was all Altiora. It seemed like, despite every advantage being in Livid's column, that Altiora was going to win the round. And I actually thought Altiora would take that, and I was flabbergasted. The round shouldn't have even been close. But, despite that, Omega's quick, on-the-fly play and his awareness of the situation managed to win the round for his team. So, clap clap for Omega. Livid take the lead.
10 seconds to go.
Livid are obviously going to be quite confident and comfortable on that one. The heroics from Omega ending up being the difference maker, as I think Eska was getting revived by Penguin, which is where the oversight from Altiora came in. I don't think they were expecting a retake from the back of Throne through maintenance, but that's exactly where Omega chooses to strike from. And, well, I mean, I feel like we've seen a couple retakes prove to be very successful over the last couple days, both with the matches on Wednesday and now our sole match today between these two teams. Livid have proven that just because they got absolutely shellacked on map number 1 doesn't mean that mentally they're out of this, as they're playing quite confidently. They did so on attack, and I think it's carried over to the defense. Mind you, it's just a single round, so there's an opportunity for them to fall apart. There's still a chance there, but right now they are in control. And I would say that if you were to take a bet right now, Livid are the favorites to win this map, which would mean that we would go to Oregon, one of the favorite maps of the Canada division. I mean, Canada was in large part settled / colonized by Europeans, so it makes sense that they would emulate the EU League, Michael, which just loves Oregon. It's very on brand for this this division right here. So anyway, Oregon looking like almost a near certainty at this point, unless Altiora are capable of finding a 5th or 6th gear as they've trailed this entire matchup, or at least been tied, and they trail yet again.
See if we can actually get there, though. There's still a chance for Altiora. They managed to get 2 of these roamers in a really precarious position, but Omega is going to be there, and he's going to be frying as usual. Penguin, the one in the deep fryer right now, is will have to sit on the sidelines, calling out the flank for his teammates in all probability. Sonar trying to get the pick onto Brian, but Brian patiently waiting, as he knows he has no reason to engage unless Omega dies. Brian is playing for refrag of Omega, who's on the aggro angle. So this should be a really easy staring contest for Livid, who also maintain control of initiation, which means that Altiora cannot force a crossfire as they have done so many times before. Hypers will lose this fight over by initiation. Oh, that's key. That allows Spirits to rush into Office. He doesn't check the corner, though, and Brian should get a freebie. There it is. That's called out, but Rowdy's there to support, so down goes Sonar. No refrag. There's Eska, though. He manages to get it, but it might be too late, as the man advantage is well established for Livid at this point, and there's only 35 seconds left. Very importantly as well, Livid still have control of initiation, which means that Euphoria cannot make a push in through the hallway. He risks being punished from his flank. That means that you see Euphoria actually has to take this fight with Zigolo right now, even though he's at the disadvantage. He's trying to. He's doing his best. Rowdy will eat some damage, but he doesn't check the corner. Zigolo gets a freebie. Eska in a 1v3 with 10 seconds to go. Once again, not checking the corner seems to be the theme for that round, and Livid will take it off of those 3 corner plays.
These teams have started to run Mutant Mozzie a lot more on their defenses, and I mean, they are not really the meta at the moment. We look at the utility soak meta that we see so prevalent across all regions, where teams are loving their Wamai and Jaeger combinations. They're obviously keen on bringing Maestro. They like their deployable shields that come with both Smoke and Wamai as well, and well, then you've got your flex pick as to who you want to bring. Some teams can bring a Valkyrie, others will bring Melusi. Melusi is banned right now in this map, but you could still see her brought on other maps. This time around, the teams are really enjoying their ability to slow down the attackers and just feast on that lack of information. And Livid have now, through 2 rounds, really capitalized off of Altiora not working together effectively as a team, whether it be because Altiora are having some trouble with those mute jammers and those Mozzie pests or not. I'm not entirely sure. We don't have a perfect viewpoint of that. And from Altiora, it doesn't look like they're losing drones all that much. In fact, when it was just Euphoria and Eska remaining, it still showed that there were 3 drones left up. Now, when there's only 25 seconds left, you're not going to be piloting a drone to try and outduel your opponents and outgun your opponents in a 2v3, as Altiora found themselves in. I get it in that particular instance. But ultimately, it's very likely that the loose style of roam that's coming out from Livid, working in tandem with the Mute Mozzie combo, and then also the extra intel from default cams, Maestro cams, and Valkyrie cameras, is proving to be too much for Altiora to overcome. And as I said, for Altiora, it was a win condition to draw even on the first half. I could be wrong and say that they needed to definitively win that first half, because they are at such a disadvantage here, as it appears right now, because Livid now find themselves 2 rounds away from a 3rd map to settle this between these 2 teams.
You know, the really striking thing, Parker, is that where in map number 1, each of these rounds, I mean, they lasted like, what, a minute 30, minute 40? They were fast rounds. Real quick. And these have been, on both sides, both halves, excruciatingly slow rounds for both teams. The attack, whether it be Livid or Altiora, have continuously struggled for control on Theme Park. I think it mostly stems from a lack of experience on this map, and that's fine. It's still relatively new in terms of competitive Siege, so it's not exactly anyone's fault. But that's what we're seeing displayed here. Altiora, or that's what it appears we're seeing displayed here. Altiora are going to have control of Office. Now, this looks like a Lab defense, and, you know, Lab is, as a site, definitely more viable in competitive play. It doesn't get played a lot in ranked, but this is the type of site that you can defend. You just have to be very careful with how you roam on it. And you can see that's the priority for Livid right now. Penguin gets 1, and Eska another. Down go 2 of your roamers. The 3rd in the sights of Eska, who will land the shot. The 4th in the sights of Euphoria, who gets his shot. And now it's all on Zigolo. Penguin was downed in that engagement, but it really doesn't matter. 4v1, even with the Alda, the prospect is just, it's just unlikely. Default Cam will call out for Zigolo as he ascends the arcade stairs, and he'll be down by Sonar. Finished off. Altiora take the most confident round we've seen from either team so far on this map.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. You've got the Maestro down below. It's in the best recreation of the end of Avengers Infinity Wars that we've seen in a long time, as literally everybody is just turning to ash and dust around him. So, guys, where'd you all go?
What happened to my team?
What happened? Where is everyone? So I don't envy Zigolo being put in that position, to be completely honest with you. And I mean, hey,
right.
We have seen enough Maestros clutch 1vx's to know that it is not outside of the realm of possibility that Zigolo can make something happen. But the greatest challenge is that his only way back to that bomb site involves going through the main lobby, which is patrolled by the corridor that we saw the Zofia playing on. And he's going to have to come up the stairs where there are 3 separate angles that you can get challenged from, not including the window out on the cafe as well. That cafe bell, cafe doorway into bunks, and then on the actual corridor.
Yeah.
It's just a hard spot to be in. And, you know, I don't envy Zigolo in that spot, but Altiora swept in. I realized, hey, we're having problems droning. We're having problems gaining intel. You know what we do? Just hit the site hard and hit the site fast. And if we are better aimers than them, which Altiora was in that round, we'll likely come out on top. And they just overwhelmed Livid. They got swamped. And with it, the round went in their favor, and it's very much closer. That could have been match point for Livid, and they've squandered it for now. They have another opportunity to accomplish it as they're going to go back downstairs to where they started off their defense and proved to be quite successful. It did come down to a tense 1v1, but Omega won it for his team nonetheless, and it's a thrown defense in round 10.
So, last time Altiora attacked onto Throne, they attempted a maintenance execution. It failed. With about 20 seconds left, they rushed in and tried to get the site control, but Omega clutched up really hard after Altiora actually won their gunfights. Now, Omega has been a constant presence for Livid, and he's on the roam this round. Worried about getting picked off, I'm sure. Altiora are focused on the roam clear. They did half clear out the roam last time they attacked this site, but Altiora didn't clear all the way across the map. This time they're attempting to do just that, as they will eliminate hypers on the first frag. And as you can see, Spirits has learned his lesson. He is now thoroughly checking all of the corners until Penguin gets there to drone.
It's like that hyperbole and a half meme, but it's like, check all the corners. Because they have no choice. That round in particular, they died to 3 corner players, I think, from Livid. It was man, bad. you gotta feel for them there. It's like, imagine if you had a little gadget that could scout out ahead. Oh my gosh, there it is right there. It's on your screen. So, you know.
Did you just invent drones, Parker?
It literally, I said it and willed it into being, and that's exactly why Spirits is now on one. So,
yo, thanks for giving that to the attack. I think that'll even the scales.
New DLC.
Rowdy. Gonna shoot that drone, so destroying your creation there, Parker, but he will keep himself on top of the table. He'll win the fight with Sonar, regardless of having been just droned out. Impressive shot there from Rowdy, and Livid now even the scales.
Well, that was not the smartest of peeks from Sonar, who didn't have any intel. There's 2 members of Livid that are playing inside of Lab, and it's going to be hard to shake them off of this position, especially as the time dwindles down. Rowdy Alley will continue to contest against Spirits. Spirits is playing to die at this point, but he manages to nail a good shot on Rowdy Alley, picking up his 2nd kill. Diffuser in the hands of Penguin. He'll need to get into Throne to start the plant. But there's Brian and Zigolo to hold that one down. The man of the hour on this previous defense was Omega, and here he is yet again inside of storage. Penguin attempting the plant. They'll have to shut him down, and he's taking too much damage. He peels off. Zigolo and Brian, the 1-2 punch from the back. It's Omega again on the flank. Euphoria with 1, but time is running out. Drastically so. Omega trying to jiggle peek around as it's Eska going for the plant. Euphoria will need to shut him down as Zigolo will try to come to the rescue. Diffuser at just 1 second, and it goes down successfully. Omega is trapped. Zigolo punishes Eska. So it's going to be Euphoria in a 1v2. Immediately on that diffuser is the Maestro, and Euphoria is going to have to come in to stop him. Outswing Zigolo, 1 HP, but again, Omega will clutch it inside of the same bomb site. Kill lucky number 13, and Livid will go on to match point.
Omega. What a great job he's done so far of staying alive. You saw him inside a bathroom playing with the Nomad, knowing that his Maestro is encroaching on the planting sledge, and that if he kept it in a 1v1 and Nomad was unable to disengage, the Maestro would have an easy frag, possibly even a denial of the plant in the first place. And that is exactly what happened. Very well played there from Omega. Euphoria definitely put in a try, but really difficult position to clutch from because the diffuser was not planted for him. Ultimately, Euphoria really just needed to take the fight and win it, but he was, I guess, afraid to do so. Well, all right. So, I mean, I would have been too in a crossfire like that. You have to deal with the Maestro and the Mozzie. You really can't take one fight. You have to take the other, and Mozzie's not giving you the fight, so yeah. Anyway, before he did a good job of at least putting it into a one angle, but he wasn't able to win both at the same time. So, match point. We're looking down the barrel of map number 3, and Livid will bring us to a bunk daycare defense in order to try and bring us to Oregon.
I'm excited to see how Oregon plays out here. Man, I think that this is a map that Altiora is going to look back on and kick themselves for. 2 rounds in a row, they allowed a last-second clutch from Livid that, I mean, what came down to lost gunfights and just what appeared to be poor communication. This has not been a runaway map for Livid. I think Livid looked much better on attack than they did on defense, and I know that that's crazy. People may disagree with me, and maybe you will as well. But the 3 rounds on attack that we saw out of Livid, one of which they did get a massive layup in the fact that Euphoria DC'd, so you got an opening pick for Livid without actually having to do anything. But the fact that Livid won those 3 rounds on attack, and we're confident a lot of the time, I think 2 of the rounds on defense, Livid should not have won them. And they won them just simply off of the backs of a really strong play of one member on the team and a bunch of negligence from the attackers who got caught and were looking the wrong way and weren't prepared for it. You know, Euphoria challenging on the Mozzie in that position and then having to swing over to try to take out the Maestro. There are a couple things that I saw from Altiora that if they had tightened up, this could be a 6-4 in favor of them. Doesn't matter. We can go deep down that rabbit hole, but it's Livid that's on match point, and they are poised to send us to map number 3.
Altiora going for a rush strategy, and then the footsteps will be heard from far, I'm sure. Looks like it's going to be in through control, straight to initiation. They do manage to get control of initiation. They do have control of Top Dragon as well. Altiora doesn't need to force anything out just yet. If they do choose to push into initiation, they're going to be confronted with a crossfire. So the utility that Altiora gives us here, the use of utility rather, is going to be the most important thing. If they can place their smokes correctly, this could work out fairly well for them.
You can already see the destruction, the fire in front of Hypers as he'll re-engage from that spot, but escape all the same. And he'll head down through the throne portion of the map to try to come back. There are the dragon stairs there, and he'll rope around the back of this bomb site. As you can see, it is a bunks take. A bunks defense, and it will need to be a bunks take as well from Altiora. A minute for them to sort out exactly how they want to go about this. Livid playing the corners yet again. Altiora were very skeptical of that and very aware of that previously. And you can see that every single member of Livid is packed in as tightly as they can be to hold these angles. Penguin's attention is somewhere else, but he'll have to confront Rowdy Owly playing in the corner, and if Penguin doesn't look the right way, well, he'll be punished for it. When you enter a room, you have 2 options. Look left, look right. If you pick the wrong direction, you're gone, and Euphoria will learn that the hard way from Brian as he picks up an early pick onto the Nomad. He won't survive much past that as Penguin is able to outduel him. Brian gets shut down as Penguin was on the warpath over towards Rowdy Owly. Hyper's on the flank. We'd seen him disappear earlier on, and Penguin once again looking the wrong way. He looked right, should have looked left. Eska has his teammates back and avenges him with the kill onto Omega, but Hypers is still underneath their radar. He's going to need to sneak back into this bomb site. This cross being held by both Zigolo and Rowdy Owly will probably prove to be too difficult, and now Eska will have to cover, but Sonar is very exposed. If Eska doesn't look the right way, Sonar could be gunned down with just a second left. There it is. No time to get the timer. It's map 3 on the board. Livid will win it, and we're going to Oregon to settle this one.
What a round from Livid. that Mute Mozzie combo it's been really important for both of these teams, for Livid especially on Theme Park. You saw, I'm sure, most of you, the fact that the attackers continued to round after round die to players hiding in corners. Now, this is because of the lack of information being gathered by the attack, and there's not a lot of information for the attack because of that Mute Mozzie combo. It's really hard to drone everything when you got the jammers on the one side and the pests on the other. So well played there to Livid, bringing us to map number 3. We'll see how this pans out in the final.
So I believe we're ready to bring Jackie back in, Michael, as we don't have, we have a break. Never mind. I believe I thought we didn't have one, but anyway, we have one. Go stretch your legs, go grab a cup of coffee or water, whatever you'd like. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jackie Jing, and I am with Kicks and Intero. And Livid woke up, apparently, ticking Theme Park, defeating Altiora, sending us to a map 3 on Oregon. But this was definitely different than what we saw on map 1, gentlemen. So we're going through the replays. Break it down for us. Who wants to go first?
Kicks can go first. I think
Rock,
I
paper,
went
scissors.
first last time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, map number 2 in this series was certainly a much more close affair than map number 1. We had the 7-0 here. It was definitely a fight back and forth, but there was always an air that Livid had a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more awareness on this map. It definitely seemed like both teams were very lost, and the Mute Mozzie that we saw pretty much every round really did not help either of the attacking squads in droning out corners or finding out what they're dealing with. Because of that, there was this kind of weird sensation for both attacking teams where they really weren't sure what they were doing. There was like a vague notion of an idea, like hey, we're gonna execute onto yellow wall or maintenance wall or what have you, round by round. But every single round, there's still attackers dying to someone hiding in a corner because there was a mute jammer placed there and nobody could drone it out.
Interesting. I was going to ask if picking Mute and Mozzie had actually helped Livid. So it's funny that you brought that up and you're like, it wasn't really being used effectively, but okay, it was helpful. I guess, Kix, I'll throw that question to you. Like, what do you think allowed Livid to battle back against Altiora? Do you think that pick really helped them significantly, or what do you think was the big game changer there?
For me, and I kind of spitballed at this, we don't really know because we've never seen either of these teams play Theme Park before today, but I think that Altiora just isn't very comfortable on Theme Park. It really did, it showed in their gameplay today. There were certainly strategies employed, but almost like they were ideas rather than refined, understood strategies. And it just didn't look very comfortable for Altiora. So I think it's a map they're going to need to put more emphasis on in the future, a little bit more practice into.
Okay, and Intero, we are off to Oregon next. So what are you thinking for map 3? How is this going to go down? Who's taking it all?
I kind of joked during the break way back at the tail end of map number 1 when it was 7-0. I said, now watch, the rest of this matchup is just going to be a grindy full 24 rounds, and we're going to need all of it to get this finished. It's not going to be quick. And I mean, I think we're looking at the same thing here with Oregon. This is I think statistically this is the most played map in the Canada division. I don't have stats from last week onward, but yeah, it was at one point one of the most played.
Tied with Villa.
And it's just like, It's a very defensive map. It's a very defender-sided map. You know, Livid's going to be starting on defense, so they're going to have a good opportunity to be able to put some major wins on the board here and knock Altiora back. And I mean, Altiora doesn't strike me as the type of team that's just going to take it and then roll over. I think Altiora is going to fight back. When they move to defense, I'm fully anticipating overtime between these two teams.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, we are ready for map 3, so off to Oregon you go, and I will chat with you all later. Have fun. Bye.
Thank you very much, Jackie. All right, well, the teams are ready, so let's get things rolling with Oregon, because I don't want to keep you. I mean, it's not even 8 o'clock here on the East Coast yet, so it's going to be, no matter what happens here on this map, it's still going to be an early night. And if you have commitments, then you can thank Altiora on map number 1 for that, because they tried to send you home early. They tried to send Livid home early too, but Livid said, not today. Not today, Junior. So to Oregon we go. And of course, this matchup needed a third map. So here we are. They couldn't settle it on Theme Park. They couldn't settle it after Villa. So we're going to settle it on the newest addition to the map pool, the newly reworked or semi-newly reworked Oregon. Livid starting on defense. They'll also ban first. Operator banned so far. Thatcher, Capitao, and Mira have been banned in every single map. Malusi and Wamai were that 4th ban, and well, it appears that the more things change, Michael,
the more they stay the same. Right?
Capitao's. That is correct.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You got it right. Capitao, first operator ban, and Thatcher, our boy Thatchy boy. Hey, Thatchy boy! Thatcher will join him as well.
Yeah, so the trend line continues.
Yes.
Yes. We'll see now on the defensive side if it's going to. But as we see the bans kind of come out here, I think you and I can both agree that at the very least, Oregon is going to be a little bit more of a proficient map for both of these teams. As you said, it is a Canadian division favorite. And also, very importantly, it is just in general one of those maps that has been kind of embraced by the competitive community. Some people say Boregon, because it gets played an awful lot, but at the same time, that's part of its charm. So we're not likely to see the kind of, what's the word? The timid nature that we saw on Attack on Theme Park. We're not going to see that. Hopefully, be more refined and streamlined gameplay here, I would imagine.
Refined, streamlined. Theme Park was a bit of a mess. I think neither team looked the most settled and the most comfortable. I do agree with you. Refined? Why refined? Well, because Oregon has played a whole hell of a lot. Certainly more than Theme Park. So, and this bomb site, laundry supply room downstairs, where Livid will be starting off the very first half of this map, is very well played out. A lot of teams know exactly how to set it up and how they want to play it. Right now, Livid's structuring of this bomb site doesn't look outside the norm. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to open up some of Elbow so that they can rotate in and out, playing behind a deployable shield. They're going to open up the wall inside a freezer as well, and they can play back off either A or B, depending on where the execute comes from. Most attackers are going to want to take through blue and the back pillars and then back tower, which means that Livid will likely keep a couple reinforcements and deployable shields at their disposal to then move and stack up when they face the attackers coming from back tower.
There is a roam somewhat set up on the tower. It's Hypers. He's going to be trying to shoot drones in all likelihood. As I'm sure you've probably seen, if you've ever watched like a pro streaming ranked, what you'll often see is a drone from the attack inside of tower. It's called a cutoff drone. You'll put it there in the prep phase, and that drone can be held in the start of the action phase to make sure there are no roamers in a location. Those cutoff drones are effectively used on every map, but very predominantly on Oregon, since there are a lot of bottlenecks you can really easily cut off. For example, there was one pre-placed by Altiora on the west side of the building, and that's how they were able to so swiftly take control over there. That's why you see Euphoria there, and only 1 minute spent instead of possibly more time being spent droning out not only the west side, but the top floor as well. So good efficiency here from Altiora on their clear.
and Livid are just going to sit and patiently wait. They don't need to extend too much. This bomb site, like a couple more that we see get played frequently, allows for all the defenders to play snugly around each other, and they're not going to overextend. They might put one or two bodies over towards Freezer to try and dull any spears that get pushed in that direction from the attackers, but right now, Livid knows exactly what's happening. They've lost the hatch into box, where you can see anybody from Altiora can drop from. The person that's going to try to stop that in its tracks is going to be Brian, but he's already engaged in a bit of a battle, and oh boy, he is not in the greatest of shape. Tossed out a smoke, shotgun out. This is very brazen play by the smoke. He's going to go gambling for a kill, and if it works out, it could doom some of this push from Altiora. The safe choice for Brian would have just been to get away, but he'll do so after taking out one, looking for another on Aska, but cannot connect. He'll shrug off an explosive. Still, there goes a grenade, and he's going to die. He knows it, so he rushes for it, and in his own smoke will be his grave. Up goes Sonar, dropped from Hypers, and now Penguin will have to go against the wall that had just been reinforced. Hypers found by Euphoria on backstairs, and Altiora with 40 seconds left. They have Pillar's control. Maverick has cut open a number of avenues for Altiora to see on in, but Livid is not going to give them a single inch. Keep in mind with the Warden in play, they're going to have a 1.5 scope for the MPX, and Omega can play from a little bit farther back without having to risk too much. 20 seconds remaining on the clock, and Penguin is going for the plant, and behind the shield is Omega. Eska has the coverage that is needed, and pretty good at that. 2 picks. It's a tough spot for Omega to be in, because guess what? He's going to have to vault over that shield to get out of it. Beautiful shot, and there he goes. The vault happens. But he's working against the clock now with 35 seconds. And Omega's got the rotate that he can easily walk through. But once again, he's going to have to deal with that opening. What a great shot from Omega. He's had a couple post-plant clutches. He doesn't know where Penguin is, though, and the Maverick is in the other corner, Livid, getting a taste of their own medicine. And round number 1 goes in favor of Altiora.
Well played there for Penguin. Omega, nice try, but ultimately, as you said, Parker, he just didn't have the necessary information. That was a more exciting round than the entirety of Theme Park, and I am happy that both of these teams were able to give it to us. I think it mostly comes down to what we were talking about on the lead-in here. There's a lot more understanding, a lot more depth of understanding, rather, on this map for both teams. We saw some swift attempts at flanks from Hypers, for example. He actually managed to get a kill on that flank. That's impressive, given the Nomad and the air jabs and all that were still in play. Even after that flank, though, Altiora bounced back. They managed to get the refrag immediately, no hesitation. They're not like, oh, wait, where is he? No, they know exactly where his Hyper is, and that's relayed throughout the team. Refrag comes out. Attack is still steamrolling into the site. Even Brian playing on elbow, as you said, brazen. I think that's a great word to describe it. But Brian put in work playing on elbow. And why? He understands the lay of the land there. He knew what he was getting himself into. And yeah, he did eventually die, but he delayed for a good amount of time, did a lot of damage, and even managed to get a kill. I'd say Brian put up a great fight there, kind of a honey badger backed into a corner sort of fight. Just in general, refined play from everyone in that round, and it makes me optimistic for what we're going to see moving forward.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
A nail biter of a first round. Omega nearly clutching, but after 2 clutches on Theme Park, the magic seems to run out.
Yep.
Will we see more of that? That is the question, Michael. This looks like, once again, another bog standard defense upstairs on dorms. And what exactly does that mean for people who don't know the standardized style of defending up top? Well, I mean, you're going to want to play inside of attic. With a Wamai ban, it actually means that your attic hold is going to be a little bit more tenuous. And Livid knows that. They've got the ADS's positioned next to attic with 2 Goyo shields to soak up utility. Altiora knows that they're going to have to take from the back of attic, and that's good for them. It's also why they have a Maverick to cut through that steel. There's an Electroclaw in play. Kaid taking the importance away from Bandit and effectively replacing him. And the Kaid of Zigalo is going to be playing by the bomb. It's next to Big Window in the middle of the dorm site. But the thing with this is that Altiora is probably not going to put somebody towards that big window until the very end of the round. So you as a defender know you can sit there pretty freely without worrying about getting pushed. General rotation for attackers is take attic wall, take Master Wall, which then leads into Games, as it's called now, formerly known as Generator. And then if there's somebody available, you can take that attacker and then either put them over by White Stairs or by the big window. And that's exactly where Zigalo's attention is going to be. Attic Wall now opened up and utility being dumped in to try to burn these ADSs, as all 3 flashbangs from Ash go as essentially their ADS fodder. And the Goyo is spotted behind the shield. Last flashbang goes in, Eska suffers a beating, and there goes the Goyo shield in front of Rowdy Owly, who is now snuck well back.
Hypers hits an air jab at the bottom of tower stairs and will fall back, just burning it and going. That's going to shift the focus of one of the attackers to the flank. They'll have to be attentive, as there is a possibility they will get gunned from behind. Attic control established here for Altiora, and that's big. And we'll get a kill from it. Brian goes down to Spirits, peeking in that attic door. Long angle being played by Rowdy, but it's the nade from Penguin that will shut him down. Altiora also getting control of Games, and the plant is going to come out just inside of the doorway from attic. Altiora has full coverage, and as they pick up Omega, the chances for Hypers and Zigalo seem slim. They could have denied the plant, though. Hypers gets shut down by Penguin, who just gets off of it, and it's all on Zigalo inside of dorms. He'll rotate towards the big window. Sees the player by trophy. But the player by trophy doesn't see him. Reload, and the gun back up. Sonar will take the round, and it's a flawless one. Altiora, a great execution.
Flawless, even though I believe there were 2 downs committed from the Kaid, or at least 1 down that we know of onto the Ash inside of Attic. A pretty punishing round from Altiora. They do exactly what they need to do. Like I said, they take Attic. They had the Habana moved over towards where Games Wall was in the closet, and then you just slowly crush down on that bomb site. And given the fact that Livid have had at least 1 player playing off site, there hasn't really been the same level of success on their roam that they saw on Theme Park. That's Hypers, who is playing off site, who twice now hasn't had the most effect because he's been caught out in large part because Altiora is bringing a Nomad. So that's a rough spot to be in if you're a roamer, if you're getting droned down and hunted down and punished for it. That sucks. Nobody likes that. If you're trying to get back to the bomb site, but they've got anti-flank gadgetry in use, maybe a gridlock with those stingers, maybe a Nomad with those air jabs, maybe even a claymore in a pesky position that you can't shoot or see, and you end up running into the lasers of, well, it's going to make you as a flanker in a very challenging spot to get back and be successful.
And that, as you saw, those flanks were unsuccessful. The actual site hold was the real problem, though, of course. But all that said and done, Altiora, one after another successful attacks.
5 seconds to insertion.
We often see this happen. You'll have a complete blowout in the first map of a series. Then the team that got absolutely destroyed in map number 1 will tooth and nail fight their way back in map number 2. And then in map number 3, a return to map number 1. But don't count out Livid just yet. Just because they've lost on 2 of the most commonly defended sites on this map once already doesn't mean it's going to be twice. In this round, Brian and Hypers are trying to aggressively contend with the attackers trying to push in through blue. This is a dangerous blunder for Livid, but it could work out. And they'll fall off just as quickly as I say it.
Brian's in the same spot before. He was a wild man in this position, swung and took down 1 member of Livid before he was shoved off of Elbow, which is the spot that he's playing right now on blue. It looks like he's going to go somewhat earlier, but he's holding out. He's trying to bait them. He's not doing a good enough job because Altiora is not taking it whatsoever. Bouncing that stun, it'll give away Brian's position before either of the ADSs can capture him. There's only 1 ADS with a charge left. Hyper's credited with the very first pick. Comes at the halfway point of the round. And he's sitting waiting over by Box. That's the diffuser that's been surrendered by Penguin, and it'll leave Sonar as the only hard breacher. The Spirits is next up to try and stop this. The X-Kairos have taken away some of that wall. Now Eska taking damage as Hyper is getting his HP chipped away at from Spirits, who's dropping on the deck. And Hypers will have to move from his position because of the fact the X-Kairos are taking away that wall, right into the waiting arms of Spirits. And the Ash is going to continue to try to do some damage from that position, but can't make it through that metal reinforcement. Brian has escaped Elbow. He's barricaded behind him, so he doesn't need to worry too much. And that's ground that Altiora is going to have to make up elsewhere.
They don't have any hard destruction to open up the wall behind Brian because the one casualty on Altiora's side is Penguin. That's crucial. Sonar also used all of his Excaros already, so no breach in the tank. Omega will take down Sonar by pillar. That's on a long angle all the way inside a freezer that Eska then steps into. Clearly, the angle play not being relayed on Altiora's side. Time is ticking here for Altiora. They need to pick up that diffuser and start playing for the plant, but 2 kills will sway what was seemingly a Livid round. All on Zigolo and Rowdy. Rowdy's landing his shots, though, so 2v2. He'll be refragged by an aggressive push from Euphoria. Bad timing for Euphoria as he gets off the angle. Zigolo, full HP, Alda in hand. And now in a 1v1 thanks to the plant attempt here. Bad coverage from Euphoria, but he twists at the right moment and will land the shot. Altiora takes round number 3 in a row.
And that diffuser would have gone down, but the Zofia of Eska pops off at the last second because, well, if Euphoria loses that gunfight, you're immobilized, you're getting caught with your pants down right as that diffuser button hits 0, and you're as good as dead to the Maestro, who's just going to need to take one small flick of that mouse and punish you for it with the Alda in hand. Altiora now doing their best Villa impression. They're up 3-0 here on attack on Oregon. Not great for Livid, frankly. And Livid have not had any success on the 2 bomb sites that they've gone to so far. They attempted Laundry twice. Dorms didn't work out in their favor. It was a flawless round, in fact, on Dorms. So what do? Well, you got to go somewhere else. This is a bomb site that sees play as the tertiary site, usually not as favorable to the defense as you find Laundry or Dorms. There are much better setups that you can have on those 2 other bomb sites. And you have to spread your forces a little thin with the way that this A-B bomb site of Kitchen and Meeting are held. A lot of teams will invest in Attic and Meeting to try to hold off from the attackers taking B. Very few teams will focus on the A bomb site. The problem is that Altiora, with the way they've been playing and the way they've been droning this time, they've been doing a much more effective job of droning on these 3 rounds on Oregon than they did at all on Theme Park. They could suss out a pretty good take on A if they feel that Livid is too focused on defending Meeting. This is why you see Livid right now reinforcing and structuring over inside of the bathroom stalls and the showers where Hypers is playing along with Zigolo and Omega. And they're making sure that A is not a neglected bomb site. In fact, there are now 6 reinforcements that are being used over there. I don't think that leaves enough left for Stage and Attic to be taken care of. So if they take that Attic wall and then hit the back of Kitchen on B bomb, they could sneak right in. I worry if Livid is defending the A-bomb site too much, but we'll see, because the greater question is going to be how Altiora chooses to attack it. It could be a very smart read from Livid.
Right now, it seems like it's going to be the tower take, the small tower take, I should be specific. That's actually an old call left over from pre-rework Oregon. Air jabs going up there to deny the push out. Impact trick used on the locker wall. Zigolo will use both of them, though. No. Bad call. A second explosive. I'm not sure what lands. And there's the second impact. Omega will switch out, so there is another set of impacts. So it's his turn. Down goes a shield, though. He's got to be careful. Impact already out. Expecting a hard destruction now. Maverick, meanwhile, opening up the wall into Cafeteria. That's good control established for Penguin. He'll make it soft, and Eska will open it up. Or possibly Spirits. No, it's going to be Spirits, as there's actually nothing left on... Ooh, that's a bad call. Spirits just used his last Ash Charge in the hallway, and the wall is soft, but there's no soft destruction to open the wall with. Spirits and Eska going to challenge into a lockers. Omega, the one trying to stay alive, but he will fail utterly in his task. Doing a little bit of damage to Spirits, which is great, but not enough to really keep the round in the defense's favor. Altiora looking absolutely lethal as they continue to execute into lockers. With this control now, they can launch their attack onto Cafeteria.
Still above is Rowdy Owly. He's got Hypers up there too, so they can watch some of this A-bomb site through the hatch that's inside of kids' dorms. And Rowdy Owly has a nitro cell for some explosive death from above potential, but he'll have to hit his shots. Altiora are just waiting to pounce as best as they can. This lack of soft destruction is punishing, but if they need to, they can still cut it open with the Maverick charge if they want. There's also a breach for Eska if he really needs to. There goes one of the Maestro cams, and in its place, Penguin is going to get that diffuser planted. Relatively safe spot, by the way, unless the smoke from Brian can clip through the wall, and that's exactly what they're going to try to hope to do. But no, look at this. That's a free plant, and out they go. Oh my, things not working out well for Livid now in the post plant as Euphoria shuts down Owly, and we'll get a second on the Hypers as both those upstairs players from Livid will get caught on the stairs. Zigalo trapped, and he'll fire through that wall that is still very much intact. He spies the diffuser but won't even get close to it as Penguin ends his reign. It's Brian in a 1v5. 20 seconds remaining on the diffuser. If Brian moves towards that window at the bottom of white, he's as good as dead, so his path back is going to be through the kitchen, and he'll dance around the door frame, but there are long sight lines that favor the attackers right now. Hopelessly firing away towards what is way too far of a range for Brian. The timer will not be his friend. He's all out, so he's just going to go for an impactless kill, but gets shut down from the back, and with 1 second left on the timer, Altiora picks up their second flawless round, and their fourth round through 4 rounds on Oregon.
Altiora clearly feeling slighted that they lost map number 2 and are trying to, well, it would seem, clean this one up very quickly. Now, statistically in the Canadian division, Oregon is not as defender-sided as Villa. It's like a few percent less, I want to say. Let me go ahead and check that right now. It's like, because Villa is really defender-sided in the Canadian division. 61% defense-sided overall, not including the Villa that we saw played today. Whereas Oregon, same amount of times played, it's more like a 56% defense sided. So it's still a defender's map. And it's just not as much, I guess. The point here is Altiora are making mincemeat out of Livid on Livid's defensive path. And that really is telling of this map as a whole. It seems like Livid's just going to carry this all the way through, and we're going to see a repeat of Villa. I mean, that's the vibe that I'm getting from these rounds, because that last round wasn't much of a competition. And I understand it was Livid trying something new. I mean, that site has actually, before that round just now, hadn't even been defended in the Canadian division through this stage. That was the first time we've seen it. So, yeah, experiments, I get it. Didn't work out. Now Livid goes back to the basement, but really, is that going to matter?
I don't know what Livid's going to do here to try to break this streak that they find themselves on. Not only is it demotivating, but you are on the better half right now. I noted that before we got in here, that this is the better side. This is where you want to start on. Livid could run up the score and force Altiora to come back. And that was what I speculated was going to happen. Doesn't seem to be happening. So, like I said, matches are not played on paper. They are played in the server, and it's a good thing because we wrote this one as being particularly close. It can still tighten, but it's certainly not looking that way right now. Zigalo, as we now look towards round number 5, playing behind the deployable shield and elbow, is going to get stunned out. He's in Brian's spot, which is to try and stall and waste utility. X-Kairos will go off on a pill, and this is a much less aggressive defense from Livid. We're used to them challenging, and they have decided to give up the ghost, and they are going to play a turtle style of defense.
They do have some roamers, and they're not being contested inside of meeting. That's Omega trying to hold an angle through the breach. Spirits has also eaten a lot of damage, so he'll likely die swiftly in his next engagement. Small wall, though, single wall as it's often referred to as, is going to be opened up by Habana. C4 misses there for Omega, and that's really unfortunate, especially as Brian gets eliminated. There is now no indirect denial apart from the Evil Eyes, and as Eska gets hypers, it's looking worse and worse for Livid. The only thing they really have going for them is Omega on the drop. And from that drop, he'll pick up one, but now his position is known and will be called out. In fact, Omega will drop into E-Box. This is incredibly dangerous, but as the plant goes down, he has to make plays like this. He'll get his second kill and his third. Incredible stuff. The quad kill from Omega. Dropping into E-Box, and he will clean up Altiora.
Michael, what are they feeding them?
I have no idea.
Canadian bacon?
It must be slathered in maple syrup.
I am astonished, as that could have been an extraordinary blunder to drop the way that he did and push fight after fight after fight out of box and just win every single one of them. The Roni with that 1.5, that is a magical, mystical weapon, Michael, that in the hands of anybody is extremely strong. So, boy, oh boy, Omega, another post-plant clutch. He has 3 out of 4 post-plants that he's been in. He's clutched 3 of them and came into a 1v1 on his 4th. This man is dynamite when that diffuser goes down. Not that you expect Livid to be setting up strategies in that spot, but Omega being up top inside a meeting, watching the drop, and then watching down below is a strong position for him to be in. You have to dispatch somebody up on a meeting, and, well, Altiora didn't seem too intent to do that. The rest of their strategy was decently sound when they got that diffuser down. I just don't think they were expecting somebody to pivot from pillar, somebody to pivot from blue, somebody to pivot from back tower, which is exactly where all 3 of those members of Altiora died from at the hands of the Mozzie. Omega is going to be reunited with this operator, and the defense upstairs will be where Livid look to try to start a comeback against Altiora, as they finally found themselves on the board, but they've got only 1 round remaining on defense to try and close this gap.
And the key is that, of course, you're not going to be able to rely on Omega to drop bombs like that. So, I mean, you look at the scoreboard right now for Livid. 7 kills. 2? 1. 1? Yeah, 1. It's breadsticks for Livid, seemingly unlimited, and I'm sure they're getting them from that one restaurant chain that I guess I shouldn't reference, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that's not great. I don't really know how else to put that, but at least Omega's there. That's the key number 1 takeaway for Livid right now. At least Omega's here. He's got our backs. And one thing that's worth noting, guys, and gals, when you do have a teammate that clutches like that, it seriously instills confidence in you as a player. You know, when one of your squad mates goes and drops around like that, it just makes you think, man, I got to be better. I got to do better. And usually it results in an overall increase in the team's performance.
So the Dorms bomb site, only 1 defense so far, Michael, and it was so definitively Altiora's that this is the only time that they're going back here. Now, given that there was a victory on Laundry, the only other bomb sites they could have gone to were Meeting, Kitchen, or Dorms. You know, there's obviously, you can't really pick. There's so few options. But I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing a Meeting defense. Kitchen didn't really go in their favor, but neither did Dorms. This was a flawless one where Livid lost their hold on Attic. They got pinched over by Armory. Hypers got found as he was trying to come back to the bomb site, and the remaining members of Livid, of which there were only 2, got pinched in the bomb site itself. Hypers could win this heads-up gunfight down below, as it doesn't seem like he's been droned out. Eska came within arm's reach of being able to duel Hypers, who isn't exactly having the best record when it comes to these opening engagements, but he's gonna toy with them. He'll head towards the main door. This is a very unexpected spot. There is a drone right in front of him, and I don't think he saw that, as Omega had been removed earlier on. Now it's Spirits to go down, so Livid will get one back, but Penguin will continue to swing. He's been on hard breach duty, but boy, he's been looking mighty fine. Grenade goes into the corner, and Zigolo finished off, but down but not out. Not quite yet. Eska taking some damage as Hypers down below had done some work. This is just going back and forth, and it's an absolute frenzy. There's the smoke of Brian. He tries to swing on a Penguin, a 3rd kill. Technically, the Zigolo down from Penguin is also his own. So an ace is on the board if Hypers lines up right in front of Penguin's very eyes. Penguin does have the diffuser, so he'll have to go for some objective play, but no, there you go. It's an ace. All right, all 5 kills. He'll clean up. They don't even need anybody else. How do you get more defiant and more definitive than a flawless round, Michael? Well, you send 1 man in to kill everybody else, and nobody else needs to do a single damn thing. Altiora takes the first half, 5-1.
Penguin certainly has been padding his stats for this series, and as much as the round from Omega was impressive, and a 4K for him, Zigolo answers, excuse me, I'm getting tripped up by the operators. Penguin answers with an ace. Impressive stuff. And now that Altiora is on defense, the expectation here is that Altiora will start to walk away with it. Now, that's not a certainty. Definitely, it's possible that Livid are as proficient as Altiora were on attack of Organ. Though I find it unlikely. We'll wait and see. This is the first round that's going to be telling of the last rounds for this map. It'll be a basement defense for Altiora to start things off. Guess I should really briefly talk about that last round too.
Probably.
It mostly came down to the attic push. I mean, it was barely contested at all by Livid. And when it was, Penguin was winning that gunfight. Also, the roam was irrelevant throughout the round. Not really a major factor. Most key to that round, in my opinion, was Omega being the first pick. Him dying without getting anything done. Obviously, again, you look at the scoreboard, and Omega is the player right now for Livid. So if Livid doesn't have him, what do they have?
Well, they don't have anything. They have the same amount of kills than the other 4 players as Omega, which is not ideal. That's what they have. Omega has been the standout on Livid for 2 maps now. If Omega does not pull off those 2 clutches on Theme Park, it is very likely that we do not see Oregon at all. Now, mind you, Omega does not pull those off on his own. The one round in particular, when it was a 1v3 that Omega was able to win off of, there were spam marks coming in based upon gadgets that were still up. One of which presumably being a Maestro cam. So Omega does not alone conquer that challenge. He has assistance from his teammates. And additionally, the one thing that we are always oblivious and ignorant to are the amount of comms and how they can help or hinder a situation. For example, checking corners. Your teammates can say, left of the door, left, hard left, hard left. You come out, you swing hard left. There to the right and you die. You died because your teammate gave you a call that you relied upon and was incorrect. And this happens many, many times. And teams will tell you about that as well. You are only as good as the calls that are being given to you sometimes. And obviously Omega was benefiting from some pretty good calls. But regardless, he's been a mighty fine addition. See how he can do on attack, as that is the greater challenge. He has been a much better defensive player so far in these 3 maps.
Well, some really easy utility peel off there for Livid. They get the pillar shield, forcing Altiora to fall deeper and deeper back into their sight. However, Altiora still maintains control of Elbow. And they are trying to contest pillar, even though it's very dangerous. Spirits will do some damage to Brian, but it's just a shoulder shot. And, well, Spirits is going to fall back as the nade flies. Once the attack has control of pillar, that's a great platform to launch the rest of their assault onto the site. Zigalo can also open up that single wall, and that's going to afford a great angle to the attack. So everything is really falling to Livid's favor. It's going to be difficult for Altiora to contest this, even though they still have 5 players alive. Even though we're down to the last 35 seconds of this round. The favor should be for Livid, especially as that C4 misses. There are 3 gas canisters left still. There is 1 C4 left. That nade, though, will not get a kill. It will damage 3 players, but no kill at all. And the second nade misses as well. Gas canisters going out onto the default plant spot. And look at the time. There's really not a lot left for Livid, but they do get a kill in Freezer. Opening up the angles just ever so slightly. Rowdy going for the plant. C4 goes over. Down goes Rowdy. There is still a lot of angles being played from Altiora, and all the gunfights are going their way. Livid twisting for nothing at this point as Penguin gets the final kill. Not a flawless round, but damn near close.
Match point now for Altiora as well with that one. So they don't need a flawless round, but my oh my, it comes close. So great for them, and for Altiora's fans, this is it. It might not have been the Villa scoreline, but Theme Park was very clearly not a map that Altiora were prepared for. They made some mistakes. Livid was a better team, but then things go right back to what we expect of a team like Altiora. And really, it shows that there is still quite a gap between these teams in the Canada division. Though there is a clear hierarchy, I don't think this will leave anybody guessing as to which teams were better than the others. Altiora obviously gave a very spirited fight to Mirage, but came up empty-handed at what was a close match. And I do like that there is competition driving and propelling both of these teams forward. I have to wonder with how Penguin has played today. And I would argue that Penguin has been the best player for Altiora today. I do wonder if Penguin had been in that match, if it would have made a difference. Because a little bit more firepower could have sealed the deal about a couple rounds where Loading or where Quartz were able to feast upon a bunch of gunners who seemed to be relatively asleep at the wheel. I like this new lineup from Altiora. I like what they bring. I'm not necessarily sold on Sonar as an addition. I feel like he's the type of player who, Oregon notwithstanding, he's not had a very good Oregon, but outside of Oregon, he's been serviceable.
I mean,
you can probably do better than serviceable, but I'm wondering if his contributions come in a way that we are not capable of seeing. Maybe it be calls, maybe it be leadership, etc.
it's always a factor that you have to consider. There are quite a few players. Why are words hard, Parker? There are quite a few players that play not only in this division but in others that are undervalued because their stats don't represent what most would see as being a major contributor. Because we're not always able to see all the little things that a support player will do, an IGL will do, somebody who puts in serious work on the back with dry runs and creating strategies from the ground up. So, always worth keeping that in your mind when you see someone not having a great performance. Now, early on here, Omega's going to get run out on by Penguin from Garage, of all places. He'll get his 15th kill.
That is dumb.
It really is.
Dumb.
That's almost as many kills as the enemy team right now. If I'm not mistaken, they have like one more than him. Let me see here.
They have 16.
Yeah, they have one more killed than just Penguin.
Penguin, of course, having an ace to his name, and is also, especially on attack, is playing hard breach most of the time. Now, the way that Altiora has been playing their hard breach on attack allows for more flexibility and more fragging power once your job is done, but still, damn near impressive regardless.
And Locker's control is still in hand for Altiora. The impact tricking coming out here from Euphoria specifically. He'll get, I think, another Selma. There's no more Selmas left, in fact. And as that nade misses Euphoria, he will still persist inside of Lockers. He didn't have an ADS. The nade just missed, as will the second one. Zigalo going up to the wall. He needs to Maverick trick now, but I mean, as the clock continues to play out and the trepidation continues to display itself on the faces of Livid, this is looking a lot like potentially the last round.
Zigalo's going for the plant, though, and he peels off. Damage being done from both Penguin and the Malusi of Eska, but they shake the player from Livid away from that spot. Penguin kill number 16. There you go. But Rowdy, Owly, and Brian are going to find 2 for Livid. This is about as even as you're going to get. The diffuser has not been planted, and with 30 seconds remaining and it's surrendered over by the kitchen bomb site, you're going to need to go get it. Penguin on the hunt for yet another kill. Brian falters, and he's punished by Spirits. Advantage now very much in favor as there's another kill for Penguin. Is he going to seal the deal with a 4K as Rowdy Owly comes up? No, it's Spirits above to end it. 3K from Penguin. A hell of a debut for him. That's him on the left. Boy, oh boy. And again, too much dirt on the shoulder to be brushed off. What a showing from Altiora. What a showing from Penguin. A hell of a debut for him in the Canada division. And with it, his team will finish second in the Canada division. You got Livid in third.
I can certainly see why they brought Penguin into this lineup, as he really outshone most players in this lobby. Let's bring Jackie into the conversation and hear what she has to think about this series.
Hello.
Hello, JJ.
Hi, gentlemen. Yay. I'm so sad.
Why are you sad, JJ?
Because the Canada division's over, and I always have so much fun with y'all on Fridays.
I mean,
I know.
The Canada will always exist in our heart, Jackie.
I know, but it's just been a ton of fun. But all right, let's talk about that matchup a little bit. And Altiora sealing the deal in Map 3, Oregon, crushing Livid. Kind of similar to what we saw in Map 1. But we're rolling through the highlights, gentlemen. Or the Altiora montage, as I think we called it earlier.
Yeah,
right?
number 2 this time.
Yeah.
Okay, I do think this was closer. This was a much better showing for them than Villa. I mean, Villa was a 7-0. You can't jump out of a basement window. So I don't think it's possible for it to get worse. And the expectations were so low that, yeah, I think that Livid could have stumbled over them. What I will say is that a couple of these rounds were tighter than the scoreline would suggest. I do think there were 1 or 2 rounds that Livid could have possibly stolen away if one thing had gone right, whether it be a shot landing, whether it be a grenade landing properly, whether it be them being a little bit more coordinated. And then this could have ended up being a 7-3, a 7-4. Still, it was domination from Altiora, and the scoreline reads that way. It was a good day for them, and it was a good day for their 2 players of Sonar and Penguin coming in here fresh, and living up to, I think, the expectations that people had of them.
Yeah, mainly domination station for sure for Altiora. But gentlemen, since I have the sads, let's just reminisce about our time with the Canada division. And I just wanted to pick both of your brains about how you feel about the Canadian division for stage 2. You both have talked about how this is a developing region. So Kix, why don't I start with you?
Well, I'm going to miss all of the maple syrup jokes. I think overall the division has come a long way. From the start to the end now, there's been a lot of development, not only in the individual players, but in the teams as well. I think they're kind of remiss that we're not going to be able to see more movement for these teams, not more matches. Because, yeah, I mean, what we just saw there was, for example, a great debut from Penguin, right? And it's also his last match for a while. So that's the only thing that I really am missing out on here for the Canadian division. But they've certainly moved the bar up quite a lot in this first season.
Aw, that's great to hear. What about you, Intero? How did you feel about the Canadian division for stage 2?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back and you look at our very first play day, which was it was Mirage versus Nordic way back on in June, technically at the end of June.
Yep.
These teams have come a long way. Kix is right. This is night and day. Go back and look at Mirage, who at the time we expected to be the best team in the region, and we were correct, and they have continued to be that for all 10 play days. I don't think there's been any doubt in that regard. But even Mirage has tightened things up. All the players have gotten more comfortable, as much as I hate admitting it. Flynn looks better than he did, 10 play days ago. I think that we've seen greater strides to improve from the other 3 teams. Altiora is a wildly different team. Livid looks significantly better than their first play day, which was back in play day number 2. But they looked awful. They looked dreadfully poor. And then they made some changes. They made some role swaps. And they are much better now. Nordic, I think, was a team that has regressed a little bit. They've got some stuff to figure out if they decide to, not get relegated. That's in their hands now. But if they do stick around, I think they're a better team than they were. I just don't think they've been able to keep up. And it's going to take a while for the Canada division, very flatly put, to compete on the same level as the US division. It's possible, but these teams are going to need to continue to improve. They've got a couple months off now where they're really going to need to put their nose to the grindstone.
And, you guys were both touching on improvements that these teams need to make. So I want to deep dive into that a little bit more. What advice do you have for these teams? What would you tell them to really focus on, Kix?
Well, it would depend on the team I'm talking about. So I'll try to be brief. Let's go over Livid and Altiora. For Livid, I'd say that they've got a star lineup. They've got a lot of great players on there, a wealth of experience in players like Brian. Omega is always clutching up when it matters. All they really need to work on is, it seems like, cohesion and expanding their map pool. When we saw Livid play on Villa and Oregon, both of those maps kind of seemed like a bit of a struggle. It's clear that they put a lot of work into Theme Park, which is great. I'm happy to see that they've got some bastions. But yeah, just take this break, take this time, this opportunity to refine your map pool, refine your cohesion. On the side of Altiora, they clearly established themselves as second in the Canadian division. Just keep going as they're going, keep doing what they're doing. The formula seems to be working, and good luck.
Kix, that was a great answer. And Taro turned into
I was traveling through time. I turned into the game from Reboot. I don't know what just happened there.
Oh my gosh, Reboot. Good show. Anyway, we digress, and we have Penguin on deck, and Taro accidentally called him Pengu earlier. I
said he was as valuable as Pengu was to his team, let's be honest.
Valid indeed. So, Penguin, I'm sure you feel so excited. Talk to us about this victory, and what a debut from you. What emotions are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty pumped as well with the team. We're pretty happy with our performance on the 2 matches we won. And I mean, I'm just happy to be here. I love playing the game, and to play it at this level is a dream come true.
I love that answer. I mean, how did you get into such a great mindset? I mean, you were killing it today. We had you on camera and you were brushing off your shoulder a little bit. I mean, for someone's debut, sometimes people come into these situations a little bit nervous. So how did you prep for this matchup?
Well, I had a nice massage before the game. So I got all relaxed,
Great.
and, was prepared, and then I just was focused all day. Like it was the only thing I was thinking about today, and I just came to work. So. Yeah.
That's it, huh? Just came to work. All right, love that answer. So what do you believe your team will be focusing on now that the regular season is over?
Well, I think the team will definitely be focusing on getting better as a team. With the 5 that played today, there's not too much experience. It was our first time playing an actual game today. But we're focused on Mirage and beating Mirage. We want to be number 1 in Canada and eventually the world. So we're just going to get back to work. Yeah.
I love that answer. All right, Penguin. Well, exceptional debut. Enjoy that victory, and thank you so much for speaking with me.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
You too. All right, let's bring it back to Kixon and Taro. He's adorable. And did you guys see the little penguin light up? I was going to ask him about it, but I
It was
didn't.
very coincidental that he's named that.
So, yeah, I know. It's like, I love it. I get it. I kind of wanted to ask him what was the backstory behind his name, because that always fascinates me. I love hearing the backstories behind people's gamer handles. But anyway,
I feel like
Corsair played
we
today.
had a
Yeah.
Canadian player already named Peng, which I think was P3NG if I remember correctly, and now this is Penguin,
Yes.
and then we have
Yeah.
Pengu, and now we have Penguin, and we have a Hyper, and we have a Hypers, and we have a Skies, and we have
yeah.
another Skies. It's like, I hate to say it, I hate to be this guy.
Get more creative.
I hate to be this guy, but if you are not a known quantity and your handle is the same as somebody who already is a known quantity, you gotta rebrand. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
Did you all hear
But
that?
unfortunately, I don't think he already bought the LED, not the LED.
Oh, I'm not even
sign,
talking about
but-
him in particular. I was more so the fact that we've got 2 players named Hypers and Skies that are in this division. Those are the 2 that would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's rough all over, no matter what. I stand by what you said.
I mean, it's decent branding marketing advice from Intero. Thank you for your input. It's exceptional. Now we need to get to our Corsair play of the day. And what do you guys think
Omega.
it is? I was going to say the quad kill from Omega. I have not heard Kix get that excited in a while. I was like, woo!
Yeah, I mean,
Kix.
it deserves to be the quad kill on Oregon. I think
Yeah.
that Penguin's ace is a pretty close second, but I would say that in terms of significance, it was Omega's clutch on the Throne diffuser on Theme Park, because I saw that as being a massive momentum swing and something that really
Okay.
brought Livid alive. There's a lot of good options here, but let's bring it up. We can see.
Let's roll the Corsair play of the day and see who wins out of the 3 of us, because we're going to get a big prize if we're right, which is nothing. We're not really going to get anything. But yeah, roll the Corsair play of the day, and
Is anybody
let's see
surprised?
here.
I think this would have been. I mean, this is huge. This is
That was
in
really cool.
in terms of skill, this is the single best play I think of the day. In terms of importance to the
Yeah.
overall match, I still think the one on Theme Park is more important, because if that had sparked a turnaround, Michael, I see you waving your hands here. If that had sparked a turnaround on Oregon, the significance would have soared. But ultimately, that round was for nothing, because then the next 3 rounds, Altiora ends up winning on. That round is, I believe, immediately answered by an ace from Penguin, which totally destroys any chance of momentum being built off of for Livid. So,
Yeah.
But it was still cool.
oh, it was an amazing play. Like, just
Yeah.
inhuman reactions times 4. So.
I know. That's so fun to watch. But all right, gentlemen, we're going to go through the bracket really quickly. Let's see if we can pull that up. And obviously, a reminder here, man, any qualifier around the corner, everybody. We're super excited about that. But okay, yeah, here is the breakdown. So, Mirage, number 1 again. Altiora, they won today. So now they're second. Livid lost. Womp womp. I'm sorry, y'all, but you're third. And then Nordic finishes in 4th place. Oh, relegation.
Yeah, this isn't
sad.
how I would have imagined the rankings to go when we started this stage. I still would have probably put Livid at the bottom, but I think the changes they made were good. I think bringing Brian in was a smart play. Obviously, Omega is proving how good he is. The only finger pointing that I would do at this team, I think Livid has the most to improve upon, despite Nordic finishing 4th. I think that Livid has the most to improve upon. The thing for me on Livid is the man that needs to be either moved off of his role or something else is Hypers. You got to find somebody to do that role better, because if you can get somebody more reliably on that role on entry or on defense, a lot of those rounds against Altiora are a lot closer if you've got somebody good on flank or somebody really strong on entry who's not just Omega. So that's for me the key thing for Livid.
Some wonderful advice that we got from Kix and Intero. But gentlemen, again, I was kind of going into this a little bit, but any qualifier, oh my gosh, it's so close. Next Saturday, October 24th and 25th, both of those events start at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you set your calendars. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so exciting. I mean, SSG versus Mirage again, and then Sonics versus Disrupt. I'm going to say SSG, but it should still be some really, really fun matches. So, yippee. But, all right. That's a wrap, you guys. Our last Canada Division day for a while here. I obviously want to give a big thank you to Kix and Intero and Mel. Absolutely love working with them every Friday. A big thank you to our production crew at home. You guys are awesome. You're the best. And obviously a huge thank you to all of you at home. We love you to pieces. Thank you so much for supporting us. All right. Have a great weekend. See you later, folks. And don't forget, NA qualifier. Mark your calendars. October 24th, 25th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye.